Bill, what's your fursona looking like these days?
My fursona?
Yeah, your fursona.
Well, I've never worn a fursuit, but I'd like to think that, I'm probably like a bear or something, just because I feel like I'd be adjacent to that in like the gay community, just because I'm a big, hairy man who's fat, but I don't know how that translates to me being black too. Maybe there's like a special designation, because I don't think I'm a cub. I don't think I'd go into that, but I don't want to detract from what you're saying. So I don't know about my fursona. Maybe I need to do a little bit of discovery.
I think I'm more of like a nutria. I think a nutria is kind of my vibe. Tay?
No.
What's your fursona looking like these days?
I don't have one.
Yeah, right. My name is Fred Stewart, and welcome to Hots, Craves, and Omens. With me, as always, my lovely co-host.
It's me. It's Taylor. I'm being bullied again.
What do you mean, dude? I'm just asking you what your fursona is.
Yeah, and then you bullied me because I said I don't have one.
Yeah, dude, because you're lying. And with us running cameras and sound is the bear, Bill Bernard.
Oh, yeah.
Bill the Bear Bernard. Oh, dude.
Build-A-Bear, Bill Bernard.
Oh, dude, that'd be...
The Berenstein Bears Bill.
If you ever gone to, like, bare knuckles boxing, dude, that'd be the way.
Oh,
that'd be like Bill the Bear Bernard is fucking stellar.
Yeah, that's definitely gonna be some
Triple
like,
B, dude.
Oh,
Triple B.
Like I'm thinking like already I could go off of that and like embrace like some like sort of like Tyler Durden Fight Club. Like I could do it. Except I don't want to beat up Jared Leto because he was such a beautiful man, and they made a point of saying that in the movie.
Yeah, and this cult's gonna come after you. You guys know about that?
Yep.
Jared Leto cult.
Yep.
He has a whole cult of people.
I know he had like a band, but I didn't know that he had like a legitimate cult.
Yeah, no, there's a whole thing about it. He had like an island.
Ooh.
It wasn't like an Epstein Island thing, but it was more like him just kind of showing up and being like, I'm going to sing 36 of Mars song and then do the Joker laugh. You know? It's like, that's pretty cool, dude. I think
Genuinely the worst Joker. I don't like him as a Joker.
Yeah, I mean,
he didn't do that. He didn't do that Heath Ledger method acting.
Yeah,
I wanted
basically doing heroin.
Yeah. I wanted to see him lay it on the line.
His method acting was a lot worse.
He's like, my method is being bad.
Literally, yeah. My method is being the worst person I could possibly be.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah,
but not in a kind of like DC villain kind of cool way.
Yeah.
No, he was just a fucking asshole.
He just wasn't it.
Yeah, it's true.
Not it.
Before the show, we usually just kind of take a minute and just kind of bullshit with one another, and we start talking about like music and how like sometimes music has, certainly like, it's edginess or whatever. We're talking about like hip hop and like how hip hop and like you see often in hip hop, and you actually see a lot of stories of people being like, and I rolled up on the block of 22nd, AK out the side, blast that motherfucker, and he lost his eye, and then 2 years later they get arrested for that exact shooting. Have you guys heard of the David thing that's going on?
Yes.
That is insane.
Literally insane.
I have been keeping track of that, and for me, I'm like, there's so much out there that it's like, if he didn't do that, then boy, you gotta do some serious PR, because everybody's made their fucking mind up about you.
Everybody's all mad at me. Yeah, dude.
I mean, if he didn't do that, he still did a lot of fucked up shit.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's very much like that Key and Peele sketch. Like, have you guys ever seen that? Where it's the police officer sitting in like the interrogation room with the rapper, and he's playing songs, and the rapper's like, and then I dug the grave to put the body in.
Yeah.
It's
didn't they do that? They did to
just like that.
What's his name?
They've done it for so many fucking people.
Well, they did it to most recently. I can think of, is it Melly or whatever? He's got a couple of letters, and then it's like Melly or something like that. It's the like. Fuck. I can't even remember the song, but they like tried to play it in court.
Right. There's a lot of those guys who legitimately are like ratting on themselves. They just to get the hype, to get the accreditation of everything, like they'll say that stuff, and I'm like, bro, you know this shit is admissible in court. Like, they will use this fucking against you.
As someone who plays music, I just have this to say. Bill, can I get a close-up real quick?
Yo, yes.
I just want to just say this. I am going to be building a killdozer.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that's clear. And you know, and I know that's going to happen. I'm going to build a small team of killdozers, and we will be taking over the local Hardys. Thank you.
It was WNY Melly.
Yeah.
Okay. Like recently, they did that where they played one of his songs in court, and he and his lawyer are just laughing.
Yeah.
Because like it wasn't.
Yeah.
So the court just got a really cool song out of it for a little bit.
Well, no, it's like you can use that to boost your name up right there, because like, you know, they say bad publicity is still good publicity unless it's like really bad. Then people just won't touch you with like a 10-foot pole, because they'll be like, oh yeah, you're out here like fucking frogs.
Whenever I hear cases like this where like basically the musician is like basically like ratting on themselves.
Yeah.
I immediately think of one of my favorite hip hop songs of all time, which is No More Questions by Eazy-E.
Oh, yep.
And how there's just like, tell me, you ever been involved in an armed robbery? And he's like, oh, you mean a 211? And he has the whole like thing like, go inside, case the joint, one man behind the counter, and like is like describing the store and how Ice Cube is waiting in the car, and it's like, you just rat on Ice Cube?
Yeah.
You know, like they get like that song gets put out, and then it comes in, and he's like, yo, what the fuck?
Fuck that.
It's like, you don't think those guys would notice that you're fucking robbing them and I'm in the car?
I mean, that could have been Suge Knight's motivation right there, but you know, that's a story for another day.
Suge Knight gave Eazy-E AIDS.
Oh yes. I have heard that one many a times.
First time for me. Welcome to the second week of October of Halloween. 5 weeks of Halloween here at HGO. Mm-hmm. And we are about to get into something very, very spooky. Are you all ready to get into it?
I am.
Let's get in.
Bring it in close, baby. The Hollywood ending. Our protagonist walks off into the distance as the credits roll. A classic movie trope of disappearance, often leaving more questions than answers. But in reality, people don't just disappear, right? Especially not in the modern age. Sure, maybe in the 1930s you could just get up one day and leave, off to live a life somewhere else, like somewhere exotic, like Atlantic City, New Jersey. But today, we have cameras everywhere. Thanks, Big Brother. Our ATMs, street cameras, dash cams, businesses, churches, homes, schools. Cameras are everywhere in the modern age. And yet, people do disappear every year in the United States. 600,000 people are reported missing in the U.S. every single year. Granted, the vast majority are resolved usually within 30 days, but a substantial number of individuals remain missing, estimated to be around 90,000 at any given time. And I know that might be hard for you all to imagine, so bear with me. Imagine that the city of Bend, Oregon, with a population of around 100,000, and just one day you wake up and 90% of the city is gone. Just doors left open, their cars in driveways, and the wind quietly whispering through desolate suburban neighborhoods.
I would think that the rapture actually happened.
Yeah.
Because that probably would be Bend.
I told this stat to Taylor today, like earlier, and I was like, that's a fucking crazy thing to think about.
Yeah.
Like, and that, I mean, that's just gone in the blink of an eye. And at any given time, there's 90,000 people missing. So that's kind of fun and not terrifying. But in the modern age, it should be impossible to become a ghost in the system that is made to track us. Phones, GPS, credit or debit cards, even random witnesses. And yet, we have a few stories of just that. This is all about Unsolved Disappearances.
Ooh.
How's that for a show opener?
Yeah.
That's dope.
Saucy bitches. Yeah, I am actively trying to work on the next episode after this, or maybe not. Yeah, the next episode after this, and I was like, it's way more complicated. And I was like, what's also super scary? Oh yeah, people just disappearing, because that's fucking scary, especially in the modern age. I don't like it. Everything about it is super terrifying, and the story that I'm about to start off with is one of the most unsettling stories I've ever heard of a disappearance. Like, there's some that I can think of off the top of my head, which I don't know if any of you guys are going to cover, so I'll bite my tongue on it. But this story is legitimately made me like kind of spooked in the middle of the night when I was writing.
Oh.
This is the story of the Springfield Three. June 6, 1992. Suzanne Streeter, age 19, and Stacy McCall, age 18, had just graduated from Kickapoo High School at 4 p.m. and is now the Missouri State University's campus. Cheryl Levitt, age 47, was also attendance for her daughter's graduation, and she is the mother of Suzanne. As the graduation wraps up, the school is offering a, quote, alcohol-free lock-in inside the building that would take place until 8 a.m. the following morning, which I can only imagine was a dare campaign that only Mormons, chess club members, or other huge fucking nerds were going to attend. Stacy and Suzanne instead headed to their respective households for a post-graduation dinners with their families. And even Suzanne's mother, Cheryl, was offered to have dinner with the Kirby family, who soon will actually become quite important to the story, but she declined. But this wasn't just going to be a boring night at home with the family. No. This was Suzanne's and Stacy's graduation night, a time for celebration and parties. Not that I would know, because I didn't graduate high school, which is why I have a hard time reading sometimes. What does this say? Anyway.
I was just taking that at face value. I was like, that's why I reserved anything I was going to say.
It's all a bit, baby. But I didn't graduate. I'm fucking stupid. Stacy and Suzanne instead made plans earlier in that day to meet up with their mutual friend, Janelle Kirby from the Kirby family. I told you that name would be relevant, for a party at Janelle's neighbor's house that evening. After taking the usual post-graduation photos and even receiving a Cocker Spaniel as a gift, Stacy departed from her home for the Kirby residence, ready to party like it's almost 1999 in 8 more years. Suzanne, meanwhile, was doing much of the same, taking photos at the Del Mar residence with her friend Nigel Kennedy before departing for the Kirby residence as well. Not much time later, the girls arrived at Janelle Kirby's neighbors in Battlefield, Missouri. And I imagine the air was thick with the smell of alcohol and Ralph Lauren's Safari, Nirvana and Sir Mix-a-Lot's Baby Got Back battling for priority, those in attendance adorned in everything from the grunge flannel shirts, hip-hop inspired tracksuits and slip dresses, and that hip news show, The Real World, was playing a rerun on MTV on the TV. This party was probably super lit, or maybe it was a snooze fest, who knows. Probably the latter, because Suzanne, Stacy, and Janelle, instead of staying at the party, decided they were going to go carpool to other parties in Springfield. Roughly at 10 p.m. that evening, Stacy calls her mother, Janice, with another change of plans. Quote, "Mom, don't worry, we're not going to Branson tonight," Stacy told her, which is good because I looked up Branson, Missouri, and I don't know what it was like in 1992, but they're going through it.
Yeah, dude. yeah.
Dude, they're going through it. Yeah. Janice states that the plan was made, quote, with the understanding that between 8 and 8:30 a.m. the following morning, everyone would get up to go to Whitewater, which is a water park in Branson, Missouri, which, looking at the park, it does look like a cool place. But you do have to visit Branson, which seems like a 50-50 chance of getting shot or robbed. So
yeah,
take that as you will. Have you been to Branson?
No, but all throughout Kansas, they make regular commercials promoting, hey, come down to Branson. And every person who I had talked to who was actually from like Missouri proper was like, no, that's
Missouri?
it's not.
Missouri?
Yeah, well, yeah, no, that distinction is important too, because it's like you go
Missouri?
outside of you go outside of St. Louis and Kansas City, and you get closer and closer to the Ozarks. Yeah, it's more like Missouri. Like there's a distinct difference.
I have a lot of family from Missouri, and
Okay.
everyone calls it misery.
Yeah, sure.
Sure. That a
'Cause,
Missouri? Oh, that raw? You don't go down that raw.
not. I mean, St. Louis is cool. Children's Museum is really cool. I remember going there.
Does St. Louis have the arch? Is that-
Yes,
Yes.
yes, they've got the art, dude.
That they built that so that way God could just grab it and rip Missouri out of the U.S., but it never happened. So.
Get this out of here immediately.
I can attest to this fact too. St. Louis on the Missouri side is distinctly different from crossing the river into Illinois. That place looks desolate as fuck, and every person I've talked to is like, "Yep, that's right," because it's a distinct difference.
Like you cross that line and there's like a tumbleweed going by. They're like, yeah, that came out of the tumbleweed factory.
It's like bombed out factories.
It's like war-torn Afghanistan.
Yes.
On the other side. You're like, oh, like this microbrewery is really good, and you turn around and it's just the atrocities of the GWAT. You're like, holy shit. Fuck, dude. Oh.
Son, we're gonna pin a medal on your chest.
It's like, do you want to be special forces? I had a bit. I'm gonna save it for after the show, but I'll tell you.
Oh God.
So, not much is known about Cheryl Levitt's timeline around this time, other than that around 11:15 p.m., Cheryl called a friend about painting and varnishing an armoire in her bedroom. So this is the mom, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In an event that seems highly unsettling to me. She didn't sound distressed or in danger on the phone, but it's the random, almost midnight call to a friend that is for something so mundane. The call itself was unassuming, but it speaks volumes. It feels weird. Like if I called you in the middle of the night, Bill, right? I'm talking midnight.
Yeah.
And I just call you and be like, hey, do you think I should get another XLR cable just as a backup? You'd probably be like, I don't know, probably.
Yeah.
Like, what's up, man? You know, like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like, you'd be like, that's fucking weird.
Yes.
And I think that this phone call is super weird. It's like you had to call your friend at midnight to ask about an armoire. Not like, well, the kids are up at 8 a.m. to go to Whitewater. You know, like, oh, I'll grab the landline, you know, pull the quarter phone, and then you dial it up. And we're like, hey, you know, what's going on? Like, then. But fucking midnight is super weird to me.
Right.
That is a weird.
Like, it's like, why was she calling? Like, really, why was she calling?
Yeah.
As for the trio of partiers I was talking about, they were having a blast. Partying hard at a residence of one of Stacy's friends, Michelle Elder. Michelle even made plans with Stacy for the 8th to kind of rekindle their friendship because they had kind of just drifted apart in high school. The party raged into the early morning hours and was eventually broken up by Springfield police around 1:50 a.m. before the trio of girls actually returned to Janelle's house in Battlefield around 2 a.m. So, partying hard late into the night, right? So the three of them had a plan to spend the night at Janelle's house, right? But upon their arrival, they found that the home was overcrowded with members of the Kirby family who were visiting for the graduation. Stacy and Suzanne decided to head to Cheryl's house at 1717 East Delmar and just kind of chill for the rest of the night, you know, get ready for the water park the next day. Suzanne was excited to show Stacy her super fucking sweet king-size waterbed that she just had delivered. Which is pretty sick, dude. 1992, dude.
Yeah.
Pretty sick, dude.
Waterbeds those were like the thing.
Yeah, dude.
Well, I can just tell you, this time in 1992, I didn't even exist.
I didn't exist either.
Me neither.
Yeah. You had to wait until December for that because I was born in December.
Oh. Shit.
Yeah.
Old man. One thing that's also really cool about waterbeds is if you can kind of adjust your softness versus firmness by water tension, right?
Yeah.
And you can also do that if you're in the middle of the night where you're like, my bed's too squishy. Instead of going to the bathroom, you can just get up and just piss into your waterbed. It's a little life hack for you. Why are you guys looking at me like
God, yeah. Taylor looked at me the same way where I was like, you probably got like...
You guys are being a huge bummer. This is a comedy podcast.
I was like, you definitely got 4 pisses. You've got 4 pisses before you've got problems. Because I definitely feel like if you just have a late night piss and you just unleash it, that's definitely going to do some serious mixing. And at some point in time, you're going to be like, wow, my bed smells like it is houseless.
I just like that Bill and I looked at each other the exact same fucking way.
Yeah.
We just were like, ooh.
Is the bed firmer than it was?
It's the bed it's certainly warmer.
It's cold during the winter. Anyway, so basically Suzanne was like, Stacy, let's go back to my house. I'll show you my super sweet waterbed I just got.
Yeah.
And Janelle's mother, Kathy, overheard the pair leaving as she was laying in her bed. She heard the conversation, and Suzanne was like, come with me. And Stacy was like, okay, I'll go with you. And then like they left, right?
Yeah.
Just whatever. This would be the last time anyone would ever hear from Suzanne or Stacy ever again. The last time anyone ever heard from Cheryl was that phone call at 11 p.m.
Wow.
This is where things start to get quite odd.
Mm-hmm.
So June 7th, 1992, 9 a.m., Janelle and her boyfriend Mike Henson arrived at Cheryl's house after Stacy and Suzanne failed to show up at her home since they were planning on visiting the Whitewater Park that day. Upon arrival at the residence, they observed each of the woman's cars parked outside. They noticed, a friend later on noticed that Cheryl's car was not parked under the carport, which was highly unusual for her because she would always park there. She's a creature of habit. As they approach the front door, they see that a glass lampshade, which was covering the porch light, was shattered, but the bulb was intact. So there's glass on the ground, which is odd to say the least. Mike, being a caring and unassuming fool, as you'll see a lot in this story, swept up the glass so that Janelle would not cut her feet as she was barefoot at the time, potentially destroying evidence. But they discovered something a lot more alarming. The front door was unlocked.
Oh.
As they make entry into the home, Suzanne and Cheryl's Yorkshire Terrier, Cinnamon, became agitated, which is usually what they do because it's a Yorkie.
Yeah, I don't know a Yorkie that isn't agitated.
Absolutely. But there was this eerie calmness to the house. Stacy called out to Suzanne but got no response. Assuming the pair had gotten a ride from another friend to the water park, Mike and Janelle go to leave, but then the phone suddenly begins to ring.
Oh, buddy.
Janelle reluctantly walks up and answers. On the other end of the line, an identified male who sounded teenish was making sexual innuendos, saying a lot of like saying fuck a lot, saying things like that. Janelle naturally hung up as she found the call to be strange and disturbing.
Yeah.
Just as soon as she hung up, the phone rang again. Once again, it was our less than appealing mystery voice on the other end, who swiftly got hung up on again. The phone calls were jarring, especially considering the strange surroundings, but Janelle remembered that Suzanne complained about prank calls to the residence that's moving in with Cheryl in the spring of that year. And this is 1992. You could just pick up a phone book.
Right.
And just kind of
you could call anybody.
Yeah, you can just kind of call on one and just kind of fuck around. Mike and Janelle decided that they probably got blown off by their friends and decided to go visit the local water park Hydroslide in Springfield instead of Whitewater, which is now defunct. Several hours later, Janice McCall, Stacy's mother, also visited the house as her daughter had failed to answer her calls that day. Janice had a friend who knew employees at Whitewater and became panicked after they confirmed that neither Stacy or Suzanne had been seen there. Janice enters the residence and the aforementioned Cinnamon becomes, quote, barreling towards her, probably needing food or other puppy needs. Because I can't imagine that dog had been fed or been taken outside. So, and I'm sure with the daughters hanging out so much, right?
Yeah.
That the moms probably knew one another. So
Yeah.
that dog probably knew her and was like, oh, thank God, like somebody's here. Janice began to canvass the house looking for any sign of where Stacy, Suzanne, or Cheryl may be. And this is one part that I want you guys to pay close attention to.
Uh-huh.
As she enters Susanna's room, right, she notices a few things. The TV was playing snow, which is the term for it playing static,
Yeah.
Right.
as it must have been playing all night. And in the middle of the room, all three of the women's purses are lined up perfectly,
Oh, weird.
with $900 in cash sitting inside of Cheryl's in plain view. Perfectly lined up.
That's
What?
odd.
Janice also noticed that her daughter's clothes were neatly folded from the night before, and that some of Stacy's clothing that she was wearing was also missing. Like, so her daughter's clothes or her daughter's friend's clothes are there.
Yeah.
Her daughter's clothes are there, and then her the other clothes are missing. It's just a really weird. It's a stage scene.
Yeah.
Is what I'm trying to get at here.
Yeah.
She also discovered that used makeup wipes from Stacy and Suzanne, as well as their jewelry and keys nearby, which were also in plain view. As Janice continued to search the home for the missing trio, she discovered that Suzanne and Cheryl's cigarettes were left inside the house, which she considered unusual, as Cheryl's friends and family described her as a chain smoker. And when she was, if she was gonna leave the house, she was gonna bring her smokes, right?
Yeah.
Like she would probably leave the house without shoes before she left with her smokes.
I feel like that's like most people who smoke during that time.
Totally. And the final piece of the puzzle is, to me, one of the fucking creepiest parts about this. You have this stage scene, the static's on the TV, the house is quiet, everybody's missing. And on the headboard of Suzanne's bed is propped up is the book Oh, the Places You'll Go by Dr. Seuss,
That's fucking
That's
weird.
odd.
which is super creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Janice, finally realizing that this is way bigger than she expected, went to go call 911 to notify police. After placing the call, Janice noticed that the answering machine had a missed call. Pressing play, Janice heard... Sorry, I accidentally pressed a button here. Pressing play, Janice heard that what she described as a strange message, but it was inadvertently erased, as this was common with most voicemails in the 1990s after being played once. Police were very interested in the call and believed it may have been connected as a clue, as they believe it was not connected to the previous prank calls earlier in that day. 16 hours after the last time the women were seen, law enforcement arrived to look into the disappearance. Over the following day, the house was flooded with law enforcement and friends in the family of the missing. Police later estimated the crime scene had been corrupted by at least 10 to 20 people who had entered the home to tidy up the residence by emptying ashtrays and cleaning up coffee cups.
Oh, man.
Yep. So one guy sweeps up evidence, and then the other family show up later on that day, and they're like, well, this place is kind of a mess. Let's go and clean this up.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck are you doing?
The first one I can get,
Yeah,
sweeping
and
up
be
the
like,
glass, 'cause,
you're an idiot.
like he shouldn't have done it, but also at the same time, like,
You're not expecting everyone in the house to be gone.
right, exactly. Like, so I mean, like, things were, I mean, it's odd, but it wasn't like the craziest thing,
Yeah, for sure. The so in a quote from Springfield Police Department's Rick Bookout, quote, when I arrived, the first thing I noticed were several people in the yard. The door was open. People were coming and going from inside the house. But with all that, the scene showed no signs of struggle except for the formerly mentioned porch light. Police also noticed that Cheryl's bed appeared to have been slept in, and an awkwardly bent window blind was found inside the house. The bed being slept in makes sense because Cheryl was home that evening, right?
Yeah.
The mom. That makes sense. but the blind itself was
odd.
not accounted for or explained. No one could really have a particular answer if like maybe that happened the night of the disappearance, or if that had just always been like that and no one noticed. But all their personal effects were left, meaning that the family dog Simon was most likely the only witness to the fate of the women.
Wow.
Just gone. Like that. Get spooked yet? Because that shit fucking spooked me, dude.
Yeah.
I was reading
pretty
that,
fucking weird.
and I tend to listen to classical music when I write episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting tangled on chords here. And so I listen to classical music to kind of get into like a headspace to write stories.
Yeah.
Like, or like review these cases and stuff. And I'm getting spooked in the middle of the night, and where Bill's at, that's a divider wall, so that usually is open. And I'm like sitting there at my desk typing, and I see something out of the corner of my eye running towards me, and I legitimately jumped. And it was that fuzzy idiot.
Oh.
She has really, really bad timing.
Oh, scared the shit out of me.
She's bad at timing.
So the FBI did get involved in the case, but it was unable to make any significant headway, and the case went cold. On December 31st, 1992, a man called America's Most Wanted called their hotline with information about the woman's disappearances, but the call was disconnected when the switchboard operator attempted to leak up the Springfield investigators. Police said the caller, quote, had prime knowledge of the abductions and publicly appealed for the man to contact them, which he never did, which is another huge misstep in this case.
Yeah.
But, man, what a... man, I used to watch I watched every single week for America's Most Wanted, dude. You ever watch America's Most Wanted? Mm-hmm. Bill?
Yeah.
John Walsh?
Yes, I watched that. I watched Cops.
Fucking Cops, dude.
I have yet to
good.
see the new iteration, which is like the live PD. I have yet to see that, but
It's kind of boring, to be honest.
really?
Yeah, but that's just law enforcement.
well, yeah, no, like you can't expect it to be like going hot all the time.
Oh, yeah,
and
no.
if you've built a show around like it intentionally being live, then it's like if you're not gonna do something to like make it a bigger deal, like with like reality TV, then you gotta kind of just concede the fact that it's not gonna be bang bang shoot 'em up every time.
Cops was like just all put together.
Yeah.
Like the craziest shit they'd seen.
Well, yeah, because they would film with an apartment for like a month.
Yeah.
And then they would be like, hey, we went to like 5 crazy calls in that month. And then they would be like, that's 5 things for an episode.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, for 5 different episodes.
Yep.
So it's like, yeah, but like live PD, it's like, you know, they'll be like, we're going to be at 1011 southbound 11th Ave with got a motorist with the tail light out. And they walk up and they're like, do you have your license? And they're like, no. And they're like, all right. And then they make them sit on the curb for like an hour. It's not really that exciting.
Right.
There was one time where they did get into an officer involved shooting on there.
Yeah.
Which was fucking crazy to watch.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because they were chased. There was like a pursuit. And like they show pursuits on that all the time because there's always a pursuit happening somewhere in the U.S.
Yeah.
And that dude like foot bailed, so the camera crew's like falling. And they had a gunfight with this dude.
Oh my god.
And the camera guy's like fucking like,
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit. They're not paying you enough, bro. Like, not at all.
No.
But yeah, one of my other favorite shows around this time, you know, well, I wasn't alive, but like that came from the 90s. We were just talking about it for that little pause right there, was America's World's Wildest Police Videos.
Yeah.
About like Sheriff John Bonnell from Multnomah County, which we're going to cover a story in Multnomah County at the end of the show. But I just always loved because like John Walsh was like, he's like, you know, they would catch a guy and be like, you should be ashamed of yourself, you know, like really like getting on him, you know, be like, hey buddy, like, what are you doing?
Right.
You know, it's like a dad, you know, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry, John Walsh. And then like John Bonnell would be like, this fucking idiot fell into a storm drain and was beaten by police. And then they would show like a fucking cop car passing by really fast. So good, dude. Oh, it was him like doing dramatizations with like police officers.
Yeah.
And it'd be like, and now we're gonna cover criminals who fucking got beat to death. You're like, cool, dude. You're so cool, John Bonnell. Anyway, So the man never contacted America's Most Wanted ever again, or police, right? And then in 1997, Cheryl and Suzanne were declared legally dead. However, their case file, they're still declared as missing. In 2007, investigators received a tip from crime reporter Kathy Baird and mechanical engineer Rick Norland, who used ground-penetrating radar at a parking garage at Cox Hospital. I almost started getting into the mantra of talking like Sheriff John Bonnell for a moment. I had to back off because I was going to be like, and Mr. Norland discovered 3 anomalies. Roughly the same size. Never mind. So we discovered 3 anomalies roughly the same size as the missing women, and stated that the GPR, ground penetrating radar, readings were consistent with a gravesite location. This is inside of a parking garage. 2 of the anomalies were parallel, 1 was perpendicular. The SPD spokesperson Lisa Cox said in a statement that about the tip, quote, provided no evidence or logical reasoning behind this theory at the time or since. She also stated that the parking structure began construction in September of 1993, which is over a year after the disappearances. Quote, digging up the area and subsequently reconstructing the structure would be extremely costly, and without any reasonable belief that the bodies could be located there, it is illogical to do so. And for those reasons, SPD does not intend to. Investigators have determined that this lead to be not credible. Daryl Moore, a former assistant of Greene County Prosecutor's Office, said that the tip came from someone who, quote, either claimed to be a psychic or claimed to have a dream or vision about the case. So,
interesting.
I'm getting a vision. Bill?
Yes.
Taylor, I'm getting a vision.
Okay.
I'm getting a vision.
Okay.
I think I need at least 5 more beers for this to be funny. I think this podcast will be way funnier if I just get fucking hammered and can't read.
Okay.
Okay, guess feel it.
It'll be very entertaining nonetheless.
I'm also getting a vision. I'm getting a dog psychic. I think Taylor. I think Spirit needs. I think she needs a dog bed that I already bought her. Remember that? Remember how that was something? Taylor went to a dog psychic.
I did it for fun because it was at a dog show that I was at. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. It's like, I don't know. I don't remember how much it was. Like $20, $30, something like that.
$30.
I don't remember.
That you're never going to get back.
To go to a dog psychic.
I like to spend money. That's my problem. I have a spending problem. So I saw, $30. That's fine. I can do that. And I was told she needs a dog bed. And then he bought her one, and now she sometimes sleeps in it.
She lays next to the bed.
Oh, yeah. That sounds very on brand for a dog.
I distinctly remember the first time Taylor ever brought up that to me. Like, it was before she actually went to a dog psychic.
Yeah.
And she's going to do dog tarot card readings next time. But she was like, she was like telling me, going off about something, and she was like, yeah, he's this guy's a dog psychic, and I go, that's not a real thing.
Get a real job.
Yeah, and she's like, well, it's like he's like a dog, like he's a dog
communicator,
he's like a dog communicator, and I was like, what does that mean? She goes like, well, like he'll like look at the dog and like understand like its wants and its needs. I'm like, you mean he looks at a fucking dog? He goes, I think your dog probably wants a treat.
I think you get better results going to like Caesar Milan or something than that.
Caesar Milan will not touch my dog with a 10-foot pole. I don't like that man. But like
I don't like a man that sounds like he's like he runs like a salad place that also does hair cutting.
Well, he is well groomed, so I would say that
he goes to the dog groomers.
Yeah, he goes to the dog groomers. I would say that he probably knows something about that, but anything otherwise, probably not.
Probably not.
I just did it to do it because I have a spending problem.
It
was like I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Why not? I'm here.
Yeah.
Might as well.
Yeah. All right.
You ever do those type of things where you're like, it's like the train museum. You know what? That we did in San Diego. It's like, we're here, we might as well. where we spent $10 each.
Kept you fucking entertained.
I don't like trains that much.
Yeah, well, it's because I didn't get enough acetaminophen in you.
Oh yeah, I was like, the tism wasn't that high right then.
Yeah, we were doing bumps of acetaminophen in the parking lot. Probably would have liked that train museum a lot more.
Choo choo.
So many theories regarding the woman's disappearances have been speculated over the years, and as this story has progressed, it's fucking insane, right?
Yeah.
Like the staging, just everything. Like there's just like all the evidence, like the police just letting people walk around a fucking crime scene, and one of the theories that has popped up over the years is that Dustin Reclea, a former boyfriend of Suzanne, and his friends actually took and killed the women, right? Mm-hmm. Because Dustin actually broke into a mausoleum and was stealing gold from human skulls. And Suzanne knew about that.
Okay.
And was going to like possibly testify against him. And
okay.
And it's like, what the fuck are we talking about?
Yeah.
Other common theories range from convicted kidnapper and robber Robert Cox, who claimed to have been involved, but he provided no insight, and murderers Gerald Carnahan and Stephen Harrison. Again, little to no insight on the case. But to me, there is one suspect who stands out above all the rest. His name is Larry Dwayne Hall. And you know this motherfucker's a serial killer because I said his first, middle, and last name. That's how you know.
Yeah.
Larry Dwayne Hall was convicted serial killer who was traveling around the Midwest. Why do you think he was traveling around the Midwest?
To kill people?
Other than to kill people.
I mean, my immediate thought is either he was like a rancher or something. I either thought that he was perhaps like a rancher, or he was a traveling salesman.
That's what I was thinking.
That's a good guess.
And I guess like really the last guess is having come from Kansas, maybe he just got bored and he was like, I want to go somewhere new.
Incorrect. So Larry Dwayne Hall was traveling around the Midwest for historical reenactments of the Civil War.
Oh my God, there you go.
Which he participated in. And is believed to have attacked, tortured, and murdered dozens of girls and women during this time. Wilson's Creek National Battlefield is located just 5 miles from the Kirby residence, where the girls went that evening, right? When they initially started the party. There was also 2 battle reenactments in the morning of June 6, 1992 in Pleasant Hope, Missouri, which is about 30 minutes north of Springfield.
Okay.
So he was probably in the area.
Probably.
Jimmy Keene, a former FBI operative, was tasked with befriending Hall in prison and gaining his trust. Hall admitted to specific details about many of his crimes and murders and graphic details to Keene that no one but the killer could have known. Hall had a map of his victims, which has never been found after Keene, for some fucking reason, revealed his cover to Hall. So it's all kind of up in the air.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you...
And that's the Springfield Three.
Okay.
Why would you reveal who you are?
And, that's a good question. And maybe because they're stupid.
Are you calling him right now, or?
Yeah, I'm gonna call him.
Hey, we're doing those call outs right now. Get on the line right now.
If you're a convicted serial killer from Missouri, give me a call at 1-800. No.
Slice me.
Oh yeah, that's fucking sick, dude. Slice me is super sick.
That actually would work as a real number too. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, that's what I thought the joke was about.
No, I just threw that shit. Literally, I can say this. I feel like I'm funny unintentionally. Like I just am tone deaf on pretty much everything. But it's like every once and again, I've got a real zinger.
Yeah.
Brought to you by Hostess.
Nice.
That was the joke.
And for those of you who heard that end of that story and were like, that sounds really familiar, it's because there was a movie that came out in 2022 called Blackbird, where Jimmy Keene begins a 10-year prison sentence with Larry Hall to get his thing. And like, it has that fucking, it's, I'll show you the actor's face. Has this actor, this guy,
know who that is.
Has this actor in it.
Oh,
and has that?
Yeah,
one,
that's the guy from the Kingsman.
Yeah, then the other actor.
Never seen it.
The other actor is Paul Hauser, who's this kind of heavier setter guy.
Oh,
he plays the killer, right? That's the real story.
They missed out on having Michael C. Hall play the killer.
They did.
That would have been a better option.
And they could have had Michael B. Jordan playing a guard, and they could have had
Michael Jordan with stakes. Because, I know he does that now.
Yeah. Thank you, Bill.
I'm hungry. I'm sorry, guys.
From the king of the court to the king of the grill. That's my first story.
All right.
And I'm going to pass it off to Tyler.
Hello?
Tyler Schilland. And that was directly my nipple.
Direct to nipple. Forget direct to DVD. It's direct to nipple.
HGO 200 direct to nipple. Taylor's going to give us her scary story.
So I don't know if you guys have heard about this case, but this case that I'm going to tell you about is one I actually heard about a while back, and it's kind of stuck with me ever since. It's very fucking weird. Mm-hmm. This is the disappearance of Brandon Swanson.
Okay. So
we're gonna. What the fuck? I didn't do anything. She just wigged out.
Oh, sure.
So let's kind of talk about Brandon himself. So Brandon Victor Swanson was born January 30th in 1989 in Marshall, Minnesota, to mom Annette and dad Brian. This family was super close. He was super close to everybody, including his younger sister. And by all accounts, he was a pretty loving brother and son. Mm-hmm. And Marshall, the town of Marshall is a relatively quiet area. It's a population of around 13 to 14,000. And it was an area kind of primarily focused on agriculture. And it actually has a violent crime rate less than half the average.
Oh, wow.
So it's pretty dead there.
Well, yeah, there's nothing to fucking beat or kill when you got to worry about your crops. They're just kind of shaking your fists in the air and just being like, God damn it, Bill, I'd fucking beat the goddamn bricks off of you if you didn't have a fucking CDL to drive to town.
I'm glad to know that I'm wanted in this community.
You're like, God damn it, I'd beat the shit out of that Fred if he didn't have a forklift certification.
So Brandon excelled in school. He always seemed to have his nose in a book, making reading his favorite pastime.
Nice.
He had a love for learning, especially science. So when he graduated from Marshall High School in 2007, he chose to stay home with his parents for a year, get a certificate in renewable energy and wind turbines from Minnesota West Community and Technical College.
Shit, he's smart.
So yeah, he's your average smart dude.
Dude's hella smart.
Yeah.
That big brain energy.
I don't even know how wind turbines work other than big wind. It's all conspiracy about big wind.
Big wind.
You know they break ground for new they don't do coal plants anymore, but how they break ground for dams and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they break wind for wind turbines. What you distracted me from my bit because you were like.
Well, it was still on me, and you were talking, and I was like, nah.
I'm not running cameras or sound.
I am.
Sometimes there aren't cameras and sound because we get distracted, and I just reach over.
Well, it was it's still on me, and I'm not talking, and I'm just sitting here.
Were you getting uncomfortable because I was talking about breaking wind, and it was just a close-up on you?
It was just uncomfortable in general. So Brandon had big plans for the upcoming school year.
Breaking wind.
And was looking forward to attending Iowa Western College. which was over 250 miles away. This would have meant going out on his own for the first time, but he was really excited about opportunities to further his life and his education. So, on the night of May 13th of 2008, it was his last day of classes at Minnesota West, meaning Brandon had officially been done with his certificate program. And that night was all about celebrating the end of the year, and Brandon had what was supposed to be a fun night with lots of friends ahead of him. Brandon's night started in the nearby town of Lind, about 7 miles southwest of his home in Marshall. He attended, some people call it a party. It was like a get-together. It was like 6 people, including Brandon. Wasn't a big party.
That's like a D&D campaign.
Yeah.
That was just some dudes getting together, you know.
Couple of guys getting together, you know, in a small town.
Bros being bros.
You know, probably talking about breaking wind and how our wind turbines work.
There's a lot of people who are like, he was at a party. It was 6 people, including him.
6 people can be a party.
Yeah.
Not a big one. When you say like a party, most people think of like something bigger, you know.
If I go out and I bring 6 of my friends,
5.
sorry, 5,
6 including you.
5 of my friends, and we go out and we're fucking slamming brews, we're having a blast, that's a party.
Yeah.
You go out with like you and your one friend, now it's a date.
I have more than one friend, first of all.
You're getting real defensive. I was just saying a thing. I was doing a bit, and you got defensive.
Okay, anyways.
Why you being like this?
Trying to tell a story. So people at the like get together report that Brandon had 1 drink
Okay.
that they noticed, and he was fine. He wasn't inebriated at all.
Sure.
He was just 1 drink, and then later in the evening, he left the get-together in Lind and headed 35 miles northwest to Canby, where his college was located. Brandon's friend and classmate was moving away, and Brandon wanted to make sure he got a chance to say goodbye, so they met up for another party. At this occasion, Brandon's friends report that the alcohol was flowing a little bit more, and that they remember Brandon had 1, maybe 2 drinks. Okay, so we're at a total of 2 to 3 drinks for the entire evening, which it sounds like they're also fairly spaced out. He's like just kind of casually having a few, like 2 or 3 drinks.
Yeah, I mean, and who knows what life was. I mean, maybe like, obviously we don't know what his tolerance or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine like 2 or 3 drinks over a span of a couple hours.
He's not plastered.
No,
by
like
any means.
Maybe slightly buzzed.
Yeah.
At most, yeah.
He's
Right.
definitely not over legal limit.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay. Yeah.
okay. So, again, his friends report he was not intoxicated, and he left around midnight, and no one thought twice about his ability to make it home safely, which I feel like most people are pretty on top of it. They're like, you're not good to drive. Like, just hang out for a couple hours.
Sure.
Aside from the fact that Brandon was relatively sober, this was also a very familiar drive for him. Took about 30 to 40 minutes to get home.
Okay.
It's a straight shot down the highway. And it's a trek that he took every single day for classes, sometimes even multiple times a day. So it's a straight shot from Canby to Marshall with State Highway 68. Nothing out of the ordinary for him, really. You gotta lay down. Lay down. And that is, I mean, it's nothing out of the ordinary until Brandon had some trouble. He somehow managed to get his car stuck in a ditch off the shoulder of the road. Apparently, he just drifted a little, but the curb was low, and while he tried, he couldn't get his car out of the ditch. So he did what most people do, and he called his friends first. But no one had answered, so he called his father around 1:45 p.m. to help him get his car out of the ditch.
Right.
Now remember, he left at midnight, 30 to 40 minutes, and then at 1:45 is when he calls his dad. An hour and 45 minutes later,
Right.
Seems kind of like a long time.
Yeah.
You said 1:45 p.m. or a.m.?
Or a.m.
Yeah, okay. I was like, that's not how an hour works.
So he leaves at midnight, and then at 1:45 a.m. is when he calls.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like you would try and get your car out of the ditch for, I don't know, 10 minutes before you're like, maybe I need a little more help than what I can do on my own.
Dude, as a guy, this might just be a me thing, but like, I'll be out there for at least an hour. At least an hour and a half until I'm like, all right, I should probably call someone.
I don't know.
Like,
You'll run through the options. You'll run
Yeah.
through everything you can conceivably think of, and then you're like, fuck, I guess I gotta call somebody.
I don't know,
Yeah,
man.
like,
I feel like I
use
wouldn't wait like an hour to call somebody.
do like the old floor mat trick, like try,
Oh, yes,
like try
that's true.
rocking the car, like.
I don't know. For me, I think that's a little odd, personally. But he wasn't hurt and there wasn't any damage to the car. Everything was just fine. He just needed to get the car back onto the road. So, not too worried, his parents piled into their car and headed out to rescue their son. Brandon told them he was somewhere on the road between Lind and Marshall. No problem, his dad had said. I know exactly what you're describing and where it's at. That's only about 10 minutes from me. We'll be right there.
Yeah.
Brian and Annette arrive to where Brandon has told them where he should be, and they can't seem to find his car. They begin driving up and down the road. Again, reminder, this is a straight shot highway. Okay. They're on the phone with Brandon. They're talking to him. And they're like, okay, we're going to flash our lights. Can you see us? Brandon sees no lights. Then they tell Brandon to that they're going to honk the horn. He says that he can't hear the horn. Brandon's parents encourage him to flash his lights, and they see nothing. So then they tell him to honk his horn, and while they hear it through the phone, they don't hear anything locally. Brandon's parents ask him what he sees around them, and they listen as he describes basically the same exact thing that they see. Long stretch of road, big open fields. There's not really any way to like miss each other. Like it's a fucking straight shot road. So what Brandon and his parents both thought was that the car was in the wrong spot. So Brandon was frustrated that his parents were obviously in the wrong spot, and his parents were frustrated that he must have given them the wrong location. And I mean, tensions are high in the middle of the night when nothing is going to plan.
Sure.
It should have been an easy find and assist trip. Brandon grew impatient while waiting for his parents to find the right spot. He was sure he'd given the right directions, and he decided he didn't want to wait anymore. So up ahead on the road in the distance, Brandon said that he could see the glow of the lights from the city of Lind, and decided he would just start walking to Lind. Brian drove his wife Annette home and promised to meet Brandon in the parking lot of a bar at the edge of town. Brian had stayed on the phone with Brandon while he made his journey, and he was a little frustrated. Brandon kept walking through fields and other areas rather than sticking to the main road. Why would he?
Right.
And usually what I do whenever Taylor is telling a story like this, is I tend to try to like want to visualize like the surroundings to better understand the story. Right. And so I did pull up Google Maps of it's Minnesota, right?
Yeah.
So it's between Marshall, Minnesota and Lind, Minnesota.
Yeah.
Which is a 10-minute drive.
Yep.
That gave me like the chills looking at that of like, how could they possibly not find one another?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. Like, I mean, just looking at, and I implore those listening, if you're not driving, please don't drive and do this. But take a moment and just look up Lind, Lynd, Minnesota, and Marshall, Minnesota, and look how desolate.
Like there's not a lot there.
There is nothing out there.
Yeah.
I mean, it just there's farmlands. There are fields. That's about it. There is literally nothing in between. There's a couple houses.
It's truly like it's flat agricultural land.
Yeah.
Like you can also see pretty far on agricultural land. So even if you're like kind of like not quite where you think you are, you should be able to hear the horn.
Yes.
You should be like, it's flat
without
land.
anything obstructing it.
Nothing's going on,
yeah.
right? Like, it's pretty nothing.
And is he on the Highway 23?
He's on, I believe that's, yeah, so that's what.
And Highway 23 is a 2-lane, like, kind of north to south.
Or
like,
there's highway, so he usually goes Highway 68.
Highway 68, okay.
Which still isn't that far from.
No.
It intersects with that highway, I think. Like up.
Up, okay. Yeah, because just looking at it is like, how the fuck could they not find one another?
Because he was driving from Canby, and he said he could see the lights of Lind. So he was going to just go to Lind because he could see the lights.
Okay.
And that's still straight shot, intersects with
Yeah,
that highway.
There we go. I pulled it up. That's even more desolate.
Yeah. So there's not a lot going on out there.
And it's just a two-lane highway?
Mm-hmm. You see what I mean by, like, you should be able to hear the horn?
Yeah, I mean,
There's nothing going on.
You're not joking when you say that it's a straight shot. If we could pull a close up real quick, Bill. Okay. And I should have pulled this on my tablet so I could show you. This is from Canby, Minnesota to Lind. And that looks terrible. Hold on, I apologize. You see that blue line?
Yeah.
Yeah. See how it's a straight line and then another straight line down?
Yeah.
It's a straight line.
It's nothing crazy.
And you can drive it, and apparently, according to Google Maps, it's a 30-minute drive.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's nothing. And in the middle of the night when there's no traffic, your kids in a little bit of trouble, you're going to put the hammer down a little bit. You're going to be kind of hustling.
Exactly.
So how the fuck did they not find him?
So Brian stayed on the phone, and he was obviously frustrated. Brandon kept walking through fields and whatnot. So which I feel like is such a guy thing to do, by the way.
I've wandered through a couple of fields in my day.
Versus staying on the frickin' road. So
man on a mission. They
were talking as Brandon walked, and he referenced fences in his way, but also the sound of running water, which he continued walking towards the lights of Lind. Shortly after 2:30, 47 minutes into the call, Brandon suddenly interrupted himself on the phone and said, "Oh shit," and then was quiet the rest of the phone call.
That's wild.
Does that not give anybody else goosebumps? Because that gives me
goosebumps. Yeah, like if you do something like that, I'm definitely gonna want to get some feedback and be like, "Are you okay? What's going on?" If that's the last thing I hear, I'm gonna assume I've got to get to where you're at because that's the end.
So he was quiet on the remainder of the call until his dad hung up and made 6 attempts to call him back, and every phone call went straight to voicemail.
Yeah.
That makes me uncomfy.
Yeah, that's not good.
So, not knowing what else to do, Brian continued driving up and down the roads, calling and looking for Brandon. He and his wife started calling Brandon's friends, who also rushed to the area to search for him in the dark night, up and down side roads and gravel paths, even the bar in Lind.
Mm-hmm.
They're everywhere. Yeah. On this stretch of road, they're everywhere looking for him.
Right.
And at 6:30 a.m., his parents reported that Brandon was missing to the Lind police. They were told at first that was hardly unusual for young men that age to stay out all night after the last day of college classes. Annette Swanson specifically recalled that one of the officers said it was Brandon's right to be missing. If he wanted to be, it's his right. And if you've ever heard of Brandon's Law at all.
Oh, that's pertaining to this?
This is pertaining to this case.
Oh, my goodness.
The law that now if you're a missing adult over 21, they still have to, investigate it.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's this case.
I'm looking into this timeline more and more and hearing the running water aspect of it, I was like, where could running water be? So I started
There's
looking.
a river.
And yeah, there's 3 Mile Creek.
Which
is off of 200th Ave, which is the road that he would have to take in order to get to Lind.
Mm-hmm.
And if he's walking through fields from Canby off of 68, he would have to pass that creek.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever happened probably happened somewhere near 200th Ave.
We'll keep getting into it.
Oh shit, dude.
So we're not done.
I know, and it makes me. This story is making me nervous.
So later that morning, the Lind police did start a search, but found no trace of Brandon in the town or outside the town. They then requested that the office of Lyon County Sheriff Joel Dahl assist them to better focus the search. This sheriff's office they obtained the cell phone records,
Right.
and they revealed that Brandon had been calling from the vicinity of Taunton along Highway 68, which is again the main route. It's the main route to Canby, northwest of Marshall, 25 miles from Lind. So he was on 68.
Yeah.
But he wasn't quite where he thought he was.
He was closer to Marshall than he was Lind.
So he was on Taunton. Or he was in Taunton.
Okay.
So now, geographically speaking, it does make sense that Brandon and his car would be in Taunton because Taunton was actually directly on the way from Canby to Marshall, which is, again, a town he drove through daily on his way to and from class. But it doesn't quite make sense how he thought he was near Lind if he were driving from Canby to Marshall, because Lind is 7 miles beyond his home in Marshall, which would make it a further drive. But again, I still think it's weird that he leaves between 12 and 12:30. Taunton is approximately 15 minutes from the party in Canby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or in Taunton. So again, there's even more time that is missing.
Yeah. There's a lot of questions.
There's a lot. That's a lot of time.
Yeah.
That's an hour and a half before he calls his parents. Or he calls anybody. So...
I even would wonder if he was, like, under distress and he was making that phone call.
I mean, he stayed on the phone with his parents for 45 minutes.
Yeah, and then, like, honking the horn.
Like...
Man.
It's very odd.
Yeah.
So, searching in that area, deputies did discover Brandon's abandoned car in a ditch off a gravel road with doors open and keys missing along the Lincoln County line, 1 mile north of Highway 68, which then brought the office of that county's sheriff into this investigation.
Mm-hmm.
So we now have 3 sheriff offices in this.
So sick, dude.
It's a lot going on.
It's kind of badass though. Just like of these, then they're gonna hopefully form like a task force, and they're gonna hopefully find them. Right? That's how the story ends, right?
We'll keep going.
Oh, good.
So Jack Vizecki, who was the Lincoln County sheriff, he told media that the Lumina had gotten hung up on the top of an incline at the side of the road, not seriously enough to damage the car, but enough to keep the wheels from touching the ground on either side. So he wasn't getting that car out no matter what.
Yeah.
There was nothing else found amiss with the car, and due to the grass and gravel in the area surrounding it, there's no way to tell which way he started walking. His cell phone call had been routed through a tower at the intersection of County Routes 3 and 10 near Minneota, another town along Highway 68, and by May 15th, the call had been determined to have come from within 5 miles of the tower. So searchers concentrated their efforts there. Since that circle included Yellow Medicine County to the north, authorities from that jurisdiction also took part. Dahl noted that from the area, a red light atop a Taunton grain elevator could be seen, and he thought that may have been the light that Brandon was seeing that would mislead him to believe that Lind was within walking distance. He said that he saw the city lights of Lind.
Oh, that's vastly different.
Not just one. It's a fucking, what was it? A grain elevator?
Yeah.
That's usually like one little like blinking light so planes don't hit it.
Mm-hmm.
And like I pulled up exactly where his car was.
Yeah.
It was 390th Street in Taunton.
Yeah.
Right. And which is vastly different than what I initially envisioned of where he was on Highway 68. No. Way, like I said, a mile north.
Yeah, he was like, still pretty close to Canby.
Yeah, but he's in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Yeah.
Like versus like, oh, he was off that highway and there's like all these like it's kind of desolate. Really, really in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, but he can see the city lights of Lind apparently on the phone call, which is again weird.
It is weird, which makes me think it might have not have been Lind. You know,
people are like, oh, maybe it was the grain elevator, the flashing red light,
or Minnesota, you know, or fucking Minnesota or Ghent, which is just south.
Yeah,
because they go through Ghent to get to Lind.
Yeah,
but what's like, and I'm just trying to piece this timeline together in my head because there was I count 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 waterways with running water, like roughly 5 maybe if you really want to count it.
Yeah.
Before you even get to Ghent.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if they are able to timestamp at what point in that phone call he goes, oh, you can hear the running water.
Yeah.
And then just seconds later, he goes, oh shit.
Well, I mean, they had mentioned that he'd seen water, but it was like at the very end of the phone call was when he.
Fucking.
It's very odd.
It just doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Why was he so far? If this is a route he's taken before.
Why did he think he was in Lind?
Yeah.
Or he was so close to Lind?
Yeah.
Trust me, I know. This fucking story's weird.
You got me hooked, dude.
So the other thing is, okay, so it's a 47 minute phone call.
Mm-hmm.
How far could he have truly walked from his car? I mean, maybe a couple miles?
I'll tell you right now. From 390th Street to Lind, Minnesota, right?
Yeah.
That is around 17 miles, which is a 6 hour, 15-minute walk.
Yeah, so he
probably less than a mile from his car.
Yeah.
At a walking speed?
You also have to consider he's going through fields.
So,
he's going over fences. Those take time to get over, you know?
30 minutes, maybe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he really couldn't have gotten, like, too terribly far. Ground searches were being complemented with a flyover by an aerial team. Search dogs were brought in from the Twin Cities. A team of bloodhounds from nearby Codington County in South Dakota picked up a 3-mile scent trail that largely followed the field roads northwest to an abandoned farm and then along the Yellow Medicine River to a point where it appeared to enter the stream. Brandon had mentioned passing fences and hearing nearby water, and so one theory is that Brandon might have drowned. Boats from the state's Department of Natural Resources were deployed along the river and gates were installed. In some areas in Lincoln County, the water had been 10 feet deep from on the morning of the disappearance. But it had gone down since then.
Mm-hmm.
It was not 10 feet up. It was not a 10 feet deep river at this point. It was fairly low. Like 10 feet also is, I mean, it's deep, but it's not that deep.
Yeah, you can jump off the bottom to get back to the top.
So, deputies walked along the riverbanks and horses and all-terrain vehicles were deployed in the surrounding area. However, Dahl ruled out a more organized, extensive ground search. After the original search found no signs of Swanson, most efforts were discontinued, but Sheriff Wyzecki continued to walk the 2 miles of yellow medicine in that area every day for 30 days straight.
Good on him.
The Swansons left their porch light on every night, hoping Brandon would eventually return, and they continued that for about 5 years. Scientifically, if Brandon had drowned in the river, authorities feel that he should have been found.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's not super deep. They were checking it. They did everything that they were supposed to do, and nothing.
Yeah.
So searches resumed late that fall after fields planted shortly after the disappearance had been harvested. Dogs on those searches continued to follow the scent of human remains into an area northwest of Porter that had not been searched earlier. Efforts picked up again in the spring after snow melted, but before planting, which was a cycle that continued through till 2011. By that time, 122 square miles had been searched. In 2010, the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension took over as the lead agency on the case, and they set up a tip line, and by 2015, 90 leads have been reported that way. By that point, when official searches resumed, the area of interest had moved towards Mud Creek, which is a tributary of Yellow Medicine north and northwest of Porter. The weirdest thing, though, is that absolutely no trace of Brandon has ever been recovered. No cell phone, no glasses. Items that, like, if he had been injured in the wilderness somewhere, you think that they would have popped up.
Even like an animal got him, you know?
Something.
And he was like, oh,
Right.
shit. And then he gets attacked by something. And, like, you know, maybe it carts him off and fucking eats him, you know? But, like, they would at least find, like,
They didn't even find
fucking glasses.
They didn't find blood spots either.
That's what's so fucking weird to me.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, I've this entire time I've been trying to envision, like, where the fuck was he when he said, oh, shit, and then he just stops. Mm-hmm. And you were talking about, like Yellow Medicine River, right?
Yeah.
And to me, looking at Google Maps and, like, doing my little, like, kind of
Search.
analysis of it,
Yeah.
that would be within 30 minutes walk from his car, roughly.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know exactly where he was on 390th Street, but 390th Street is not that fucking long.
No.
Well, at least from where it starts
Yeah.
to where you would have to go south to get to Ghent and then Lind.
Yeah.
But I can't. What could he possibly
But
see? Like, how could he possibly see the lights of the city? That's the other thing to me. I'm like, that doesn't make any fucking sense.
I mean, the other weird fact is that Brandon's phone just went quiet. It wasn't an oh shit, trip, bang, crash, gurgle, then disconnect.
Mm-hmm.
It just silent.
Straight silent.
But it wasn't. There's a bit of like discourse on whether like the phone hung up or if the dad hung up and then called back. Either way, you think that you would hear something other than just oh shit, nothing.
Yeah.
You know, whether he'd fallen in the river or tripped in a bear trap or whatever, right? You think that there would be some other noise.
Yeah.
A splash of water or something.
Sure.
Nothing.
Nothing at all.
Nothing at all. One other thing to mention, Brandon was legally blind in one eye. Mm-hmm. So his like accident is definitely not like it wasn't like super serious, but like being legally blind in one eye, yeah, like you can see how that could happen, especially in the dark. Some people think that he fell into maybe an unmarked well in the ground.
Oh fuck, that'd be my nightmare.
I would have thought that they would check something like that immediately, because like that's what happens to kids sometimes.
Yeah,
they get lost in a well.
Well, like the unmarked like just straight hole in the ground.
Right.
That is literally my nightmare.
Like no one literally knows what happened to this guy. And like the details are so odd and they don't line up quite right.
This doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. And that's it. They don't have anything else on him. He's still not been found.
I have a theory.
What's your theory?
I think that because where his car is found, and consistent with like 390th Street, right?
Yeah.
I think that he said he saw the lights of Lind, but I think that's incorrect. I think he saw the lights of Ghent, right? Yeah. And I think he started heading that direction. And he said he was cutting through fields, which would be consistent to roughly where his car was at. Mm-hmm. Hear the sound of running water. He surpasses that. And I think that he actually makes it to 200th Ave. I think he cuts through fields. I think he makes it 200th Ave. He pops out onto the road, right? And is like, I got to keep heading that way. And he maybe turns to head that way. And a car comes out and he goes, oh, shit. And then...
But they checked 122 square miles. There was no blood spots. There was nothing.
Yeah, that's
nothing
a big area to cover.
That's the thing is a car could be traveling so fast and hit him so hard, it could launch him into a ditch or something like that, or into like a waterway on the side where there's not going to be a lot of physical evidence like that.
Yeah.
Maybe that person that hits him fucking panics, throws him in the back of a truck, takes him out somewhere, ditches the body.
It is always possible. Some people suggest that like he went to disappear on his own, like he wanted to disappear or whatever, which also doesn't track for me because he was so excited about the future, and like also why would you call your parent? Like, yeah,
why would you call your parents and be like, hey, can you come get me because my car is in a fucking ditch and this sucks? Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Like, honestly, none of it makes a lot of sense. It's a very odd case.
Yeah.
And I heard about it once and I was like, this is fucking just crazy.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, granted, it's the middle of nowhere, but like to be describing like the exact same thing that your parents on the phone are seeing and
Well, to be fair, like I said, looking at how like the Highway 68 versus 390 Ave where his car was actually at, it looks basically the fucking same. I mean, it's like if Bill and you and I went out into the middle of the woods and you were like, "Where are you?" And I was like, "I'm woods," and there's a bunch of trees in front of me. And there's a road, and you'd be like, "Yeah, there's a bunch of fucking trees in front of me and a road too."
Yeah,
like it's like
I don't know. It's just weird. Everything about it is weird.
It's like, why was he on 390th instead of the road that he usually takes? You know, maybe like I said, maybe he was under some like the intoxicant a little bit, right? Maybe he started hitting a little bit later. Right?
Maybe.
And then he was like, just kind of got confused and was like, I think this is my turn. And then he makes a turn and then he's like, oh shit. And then he's like, yeah, I'm still on 68, you know, like in his mind.
Mm-hmm.
And then he, for that hour and 45 minutes where he's doesn't call anyone, he's trying to dig himself out. And he's like, fuck, this sucks. And it's like, I gotta call my dad. And, like calls his parent. And he's like, yeah. And he thinks that he's on,
the road.
Highway 68. Go like that would have to travel through the other town that I was talking about.
Yeah.
But it's just like, what happened? Like what happened? I honestly believe that he was struck by another driver because it's around that time. It's in the early morning hours.
Yeah.
Someone coming home from the bar, maybe from Ghent, right?
Yeah.
Strikes him with a car or a truck. He gets ejected into maybe a tree line or the waterway. That guy fucking panics because that guy's drunk, and he's like, I'm going to go to fucking prison. Puts his body in the back, drives him out to his property somewhere. It's all farmlands. I'm sure they have a backhoe. Just bury him.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing, though, is if he had crossed Yellow Medicine River.
Yeah.
The dogs should have been able to pick up a scent on the other side, and they couldn't.
Yeah, but, I mean, sometimes they just can't.
Yeah, it's just it is weird that it immediately stops at the river.
Yeah.
But then they check the river, they do everything, and it's not like it's the fucking Willamette where it's
like
so deep that you can't check a lot of it.
Yeah.
It took them a while to find that kayaker guy, and they ended up finding 11 bodies instead.
Yeah.
It's 10 feet deep. Like, it's a standard pool depth. Like,
yeah, which is why I think that he so it's not 202nd or turn 200th. It turns into 380th. So I think that he left his car at 390th, walked through a couple fields. Oh, there's some fences, which is consistent to what I'm looking at, and gets up to Yellow Medicine River. We hear that running water, and he's like, I don't want to cross that. Goes left instead towards 380th, which turns into 200th Ave. Mm-hmm. That's when he gets hit.
Who knows?
I don't know.
Some people like to think about like paranormal aspects. Some people were like, what if it was like a parallel dimension? But
yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think that one's as accurate.
I'd love to find parallel dimensions when I'm kind of hammered.
Oh, that'd be so sweet. Just stumbling in, and you're like, then all of a sudden you're like isekai'd into like a fantasy world, and you're like, I am the Demon King. This is the coolest thing ever.
Yes.
And then meanwhile you're just fentful outside on Arby's.
Would you have it any other way? Arby's, we've got the meats.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird, man.
It's a very odd story.
Thank you for that, Ted. That was very unsettling.
It's one that's kind of stuck with me for a while. I saw it probably 2 or 3 years ago on TikTok, and I was like, that's gonna sit with me for a while.
And this episode is gonna be we're gonna edit some that 10 minutes out, but we got Bill, you got some stories you want to tell.
Yes.
And I'm gonna have you hammer them back to back to back.
Okay, I can do that.
I am very curious to see what you brought to the table.
Okay.
And then I'll round out the show at the end with my last story. But yeah, that story freaked me out, dude. That made me really uncomfy.
Yeah, there's.
You're welcome.
It's very unsettling.
And Bill, with your first time bringing something as a host.
Yes. Okay.
See what you got.
So I've got 3 stories here. I'm gonna do them really in the order that they had happened here. Mm-hmm. So the one that goes back the furthest would be the story of Randy Wayne Leach.
Okay.
And this guy, he had been missing from Linwood, Kansas. So that's about halfway between Lawrence, Kansas, where KU is. I went to K-State, so I'm from Manhattan, and Kansas City proper. Like you have Overland Park, and then you have Linwood. So basically, going back, Randy had been a senior at Linwood High School in 1988, and he had left his home at 6:30 to go to a friend's graduation party.
Seems to be a lot of that going on in this episode.
Yes, that is a recurrent issue, because it's like, you leave to go on a party, and then that's the last you're ever heard, and it's like you never know that that's the party that'll get you. And it was like in a rural area about 5 miles from the residence, and on actually April 15th. And before he got to the party, he had stopped off somewhere to go and get some candy, soft drinks, and gasoline. If that's actually true, we don't know, but that's what it was said.
Yeah, candy and soft drinks for drinking and eating, gasoline for the party.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, dude, huffing gas, sick.
Oh, I love the smell of gas.
Is that super Kansas of them to do that?
I don't know about the huffing of gas, but I do remember like, especially like when I would go to parties with like other like military dudes and stuff. We would tend to like pregame, and then whatever was going on at like the actual person who was like a civilian's house, that was like real on the hush hush. But yeah, no, I wouldn't be surprised about a little bit of huffing of gas. So he had then been talking to some of the folks there about his car because he had this 1985 Dodge that he was driving, and it's a Dodge 600. And the thing about it was he had been doing some errands. He didn't actually ever arrive at the party until about 9:30. So there was like a 3-hour span where things were kind of up in the air. And it was actually his mom's car that he was driving, and he had roughly about $50 or so that he had on him. And the thing about it was there had been like a large number of people, like over 100 people that had been there, and also, you know, like I had said, surprise, surprise, some drug and alcohol use, and it was mostly teenagers there. And when they had seen Randy, he had been acting kind of drunk, but it wasn't really determined how much he had actually had.
Yeah.
And they didn't really know what was going on with him, but sometime after he left the party after midnight, and witnesses had remembered seeing him as late as 2:15, but nobody ever actually saw him leave.
Okay.
And he never returned home and had just been not heard from. He had been actually reported missing by his parents a day later, as he had a 12:30 curfew. Considering the fact that he's like in high school and that this is like the end of the road, I would kind of think that like they wouldn't think much of the situation.
Like, I mean, teenagers break curfew all the time.
Right. Like, and even still, he had usually honored that. Like, he wasn't really trying to push the envelope. So they actually had slept undisturbed throughout the night, and they didn't even know that he wasn't there until they woke up the following day at 6. And they thought he was in a car accident, and they called his friends, but nobody had heard from him.
Yeah.
So, like, from that 2:15 time span and everything in between, it was really guesswork at that point. And they had said that when they had contacted the police, they went out to where the party actually was, and it had already been cleaned up, and there was nothing to be found. So, like, he just was one of those people who I guess slipped through the crack, because, like I said, there was like over 100 people there.
Yeah.
So there was like hella people, and they don't think that he left of his own accord. The authorities, they had determined that he had left also behind his vehicle that he was restoring, because he borrowed his mom's car at the time frame. And what the other thing too was that he didn't really have any plans to leave home. So like, other than him thinking about going to trade school, that was the other bit there. And his dad, when he was speaking on him, had said that he was somewhat of like an entrepreneur and a hard worker. He had been a super diligent student, and he had a lot of outdoor pursuits, particularly fishing. But considering the fact he came from a party, it's not likely that he was down by the river or anything. And the parents, they still live there at the house, and they hope to see him hopefully one day, because there have been updates here and there. And they even have like an image posted of like what he would look like today, because there's still the hope that they'll be able to find him. But where things kind of go in a different direction is how they had said that Randy might have been abducted and killed by a satanic cult.
Okay.
That was supposedly active in the Linwood area. I feel like things like that are always super convenient.
Sounds like the Satanic Panic.
Yeah. Like it's like the late 80s, early 90s. They had said similarly in 88 that someone had been kidnapped by a cult and held in a cave for about 2 weeks, and had seen a corpse there that might have been Randy's. When the police searched the cave, they found no indications that anything had happened, and then they just wrote the guy off as hallucinating from drugs. And for me, I can't say that if I have ever tripped out, I have thought, hey, bodies, random things happening. That's not usually what goes through my mind. I'm more like, trees. They're great. Look at them. I can see them growing. The leaves. Chloroplast. Mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. No.
Do you remember anything else from science class, or just that mitochondria?
I have more than I have more than that. Like for me, I like to think about telomeres, and also I forget the exact term, but there's I think it's like chemical isomers, where it's like you can have an identical particle that looks like your right hand and your left hand, where it's basically the same, but it's just a subtle difference that changes it up. But I don't know if that was what you were actually asking about. But I do remember some stuff. I just like to always throw that one out there, because that's like the rudimentary thing that people always say.
Yeah.
I have a favorite history and science thing that I will never let people forget, which is Operation Paperclip.
Oh, yep.
Which I won't go into any further, but you know who you are.
Yep. Operation Paperclip. That's how we got some people to work on some stuff.
Yeah, they were working on some other stuff too.
Oh, yeah. Buddy.
They were like, these guys are bad guys. You want to come build rockets?
Oh, yeah.
You guys like rockets, you fucking psychos? You guys are a bunch of fucking psychos, dude. You guys are crazy. You guys are just annihilating people. You want to go to space?
You want to go to space? There's endless amounts of people in space that you can go at. Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. Yeah, I mean, there's another political party that was similar to that one that also favors the colors red, white, and black, but we don't ever see them in the U.S. That's crazy. It's not like, a whole movement, and they're not in charge or anything. Anyway.
So, there was a little bit of extra stuff that had stemmed out of it. There had been 3 men who had been arrested in '93, so this would be like 5 years after the fact, on suspicion of Randy's kidnapping and murder.
Holy shit!
But they had been released because of the fact that they investigators, they didn't have anything to go off of. Right. And they had been mistaken about their involvement. And then additionally, there was an adult acquaintance of Randy's who had been pretty much one of the last people who saw him, who found a severed foot on the banks of the Kansas River. This was in March of '89, so this would be like almost like a year later. It was not actually his foot, though.
Okay.
And the parents had said that there was a man that drove past their house going only about 10 miles an hour in a 55. So he was like definitely like kind of like casing the joint on the morning that Randy actually disappeared.
Oh, weird.
That's pretty suspect.
Yeah. And the thing to say is that the person who that they were speaking of, they've already since died, and it's not known if they had anything to do with Randy's disappearance. They just had put that as a particularly interesting thing, and really only a few other people had attended the party that are still alive.
Right.
Some reports have stated, though, that he left the party at 6:30. He left for the party at 6:30 when he had left to go home, and he was actually like declared dead in 2001. So it's really something that's just carried on by those who are like really vested in the case. But as far as like anything that's conclusive, it's still up in the air, and there's been few updates since then. The last thing I had heard, there was 2 investigators that were looking to go into finding more details about it, but they were kind of getting like stonewalled by the KBI, which is the Kansas version of the FBI.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where it's been left off. It's like one of those ones where I took interest in it because of the fact that it was so close to Manhattan, where I was living. And as I was talking to you before the podcast, like BTK, that's another one that's well known there within Kansas because of the fact that it was like right in the heart of Wichita.
Yeah.
And that's where I had lived for several years when I was like in the Air Force. Now, as for something that is a little bit more recent, this comes from May 10th of 2020. So on Mother's Day, the 49-year-old Suzanne Morphew had vanished from her home in Maysville. It's like the Salida area of Chaffee County, Colorado. Her husband, Barry, had last seen her asleep in bed, and a neighbor had then reported her missing in the evening. The investigators had found her bike and helmet in separate locations, but there was no obvious signs of a crash. So, like, lending to what you were talking about before, this was material evidence to show that something did happen here. And really from the beginning, everybody was like looking at the husband, because in May of 21, a year after her disappearance, he was arrested and charged with first-degree murder for tampering with physical evidence and attempting to influence a public servant. So for somebody who was innocent and didn't have any involvement, you were doing some really suspect things.
Yeah. And
the prosecution's narrative had basically said that he was controlling in their marriage. Suzanne had the intent to leave, and that Barry tried to hunt and control her in a manner that was similar to how he handled wildlife. And the evidence that was there had basically included deleted texts, cell phone and truck data, and the discovery of a tranquilizer rifle and darts in the couple's home. Not that odd, especially if he was doing anything to like go after wildlife. But that's...
I mean, I think that's kind of weird, though.
Yeah.
I mean, a tranquilizer, dart, and gun. I mean, I come from a family of hunters, and those who, would deal with wildlife like that. One of my uncles is a state of Washington master hunter.
Okay.
Which is like basically the state of Washington comes and calls people, and they go, "Hey, somebody shot an elk, but it didn't die, and we don't know where it's at. We need to go find it."
Oh, okay.
So they go track it, and obviously dispatch it.
Yeah.
Accordingly, and not one. I can't think of one reason why you would need a tranquilizer dart unless you're like. Unless you're
like
doing
fucking elephants or something.
Well, I mean, unless you're doing something where you have to go and like, we're like a wildlife rehabilitation, and
bears.
like I got to go trank a bear because a bear is, it's like, it fucking ran into the local Home Depot and now it's trying to apply for jobs, and like we can't have that, and so you got to go in there and just like hits it, and then like. Then you deal with it, then you just like move it.
Right.
But it's like, if you're just like a fucking hunter, dude, you don't just have a trank gun for no reason.
Yeah, no. The more that you were talking about that, the more it kind of I realized that means that you're going to be intentional with it, and that you're planning to transport.
Something.
Whereas, like, if you want something to be more manageable, I mean, you probably just fucking kill it and then take it with you.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is a very valid thing to think on. As far as like additional details go with the trial, though, they had said that in April of 22, so this would be like 2 years after the fact, just before the trial, the judge actually had moved to dismiss the charges without prejudice. And that meaning that the state couldn't indict again later.
Right, double jeopardy.
Right. And since they were barred from taking up some of the key witnesses for failing to turn over evidence in the defense's favor. This dismissal had also really kind of touched on some things, but it wasn't like an outright exoneration. Like, he still was someone where they were looking at him, maybe they couldn't charge him, but they wanted to know more details pertaining to this. And the prosecuting attorney had actually faced review and was disbarred for misconduct relating to the handling of this and other cases.
Damn, dude.
Yeah, so this
Yikes.
became like pretty high profile because of everything that had spawned from that. And one of the things too is that there was no body. So like there was no body found, and that had continued up until September of 2023, when law enforcement agents had been looking for another missing person in Moffett, which is about 40 miles from their home. This being on September 25th, they had tested the body, and it was Suzanne.
Okay.
So they did find that. It took them some time, but in April of 24, the coroner's office had ruled her death a homicide, and the autopsy revealed no obvious signs of external trauma. They did do a toxicology, and they found a whole litany of stuff. They had butyrophenol, azaperone, and medetomidine in her bone marrow that are used for wildlife immobilization. So, there you go. That's the thing. They had then, the prosecutors later had then said that there was only one person in the area, Barry Morphew, who had legal access to that. And it was a compounded sedative. And they had also said that many bones had been bleached, and that the condition of her clothing and remains had suggested she had not decomposed in the grave where she was found. So she had to have been transported, and there had to be a whole bunch of stuff that ultimately said that, yeah, she had died somewhere else. And basically, with that evidence that had been relatively circumstantial, a grand jury in Colorado's 12th Judicial District had indicted Barry on June 20th of this year, charging him with a new first-degree murder. He was taken into custody in Arizona, and presently is in the process of being extradited back to Colorado to face trial. He still says he's innocent, and they say that the defense has tunnel vision, that they're fixated on this guy, and they have no alternative suspects. I mean, he had the permits. He had done everything that they needed to do to point to him. So it's like it seems pretty sealed, shut, done, all there.
Yeah.
And he's got a bond of like over $1 million.
Oh,
so
good.
Oh, they're
Yeah.
pretty on it.
yeah, they're not going anywhere. There's still really not too much that that can say other than just the fact that they point to infidelity, the financials, and the control dynamics as to why this had basically been it. And Suzanne was telling her friends this too.
It's usually the husband.
Usually.
Yeah,
Usually
I mean,
the husband.
Usually.
I mean, fuck's sake. I mean, like, look at most murders in the U.S. when the wife disappears, and they're like, I think of every episode of the Forensic Files,
Yeah.
Like, on the cold morning of September 28th, 1980, like, Susan disappeared. And then they're like, at the end of the episode, like, it's the husband. And they're like, yeah, let's do 30 seasons of this. That's usually what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually the fucking husband being a dickbag. Which is why when me and Taylor get married at the end of the month, we're going to flip the script. Instead of me killing her, she's going to shoot me in cold blood. Up top.
Gotta love that
Change it
right
up
there.
a little bit, right?
Girl boss.
Girl boss. Oh my god.
Women supporting women, am I right?
Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. So that's
Yeah.
that's that for that.
Okay, that's that for that. What about that?
And what about that? So the last one, this one I actually learned about yesterday.
Okay.
And it pertains to something that's actually kind of jumping around on the news because I first heard about this on NBC. 2 California sisters, the Ramos children, they'd been missing for 36 years and were ultimately found alive and living well with they are living well now, but they tracked them down through familial DNA when they were investigating the mother's death, this being in Arizona. They had been discovered back in August when Jasmine and Elizabeth Ramos, living under different names because they had gone through the foster system, had been raised in Ventura County, California. They weren't known where they were. And the authorities now are trying to find the killer of their mom, Marina Ramos of Bakersfield, California, whose body had been found with multiple stab wounds in Arizona on December 12th, 1989. Jasmine had been only 2 months old and Elizabeth 14 when they disappeared and were found days later abandoned in Oxnard, California, in a park bathroom in the greater Mojave. Hey, you like this story? You like it a lot? So it was stated, a witness was walking in the area and heard children crying in the woman's restroom. When asked to go and check the bathroom, they found the girls laying on a wet floor with no adult nearby. Mm-hmm. At the time, authorities didn't make the connection between the girls and their mother because there was nothing connecting them, and they were actually adopted by a couple in Ventura County and raised together in a loving home. So they were raised together, so they were not separate.
That's awesome.
But the Offices of Special Investigations Unit that had been established in 2019 to revive cold cases had actually reopened the Ramos file when their mom, who was still unconnected, was still unidentified, and the girls had been considered missing. In 2022, fingerprints from Marina Ramos' body had matched those on file belonging to Maria Ortiz, who had been arrested and fingerprinted following allegations of shoplifting in Kern County in June of that year.
I just want to say something real quick.
Yeah.
Shout out to APHIS.
Yeah.
APHIS is what is the national database for fingerprint recognition, and has solved so many fucking murder cases. It's insane. And some maybe who hate the government are like, it's government control and getting all your fucking data and shit. And it's like, unless you're like killing people, who gives a shit?
Right.
I've given out my fingerprint to shit multiple times for work and things like that. And I'm sure it's in a database. And actually, I know for a fact it's in a fucking DOD database because I had to get clearances while working at the airport.
Yeah.
And part of the Homeland Security, rather, DHS. And so, like, shout out to APHIS because this case probably never would have been solved if the investigators didn't just take the time to be like, hey, we got to get some, we got fingerprints, let's save these, we'll catalog it, throw it into APHIS, and then maybe one day we'll get a match.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Like, that's incredible.
I think about the fact, too, that, many people have their opinions about this, but I did Ancestry, and so I know that my DNA is out there,
Right.
and I know at least at the bare minimum, my grandpa, myself, and my sister through my dad, who I've never met, but I do know of her existence because of Ancestry. All of that stuff is on there, and so it's like, I know that very well if anything were to pop off, they'd be able to make that connection.
Oh, for sure.
Because the DNA is out there. But yeah, no, the thing about the fingerprints, is it is very extensive, and I had to give mine too to get a TS clearance. So like I know that if I ever do any crazy stuff, it's not going to take a lot to find me.
The government ain't got my fingerprints.
Not yet.
Suckers.
Not yet.
Not yet.
But yeah, I just wanted to just give a quick shout out to that because I mean that's APHIS is. I'm sure I could do a whole fucking whole series on APHIS, like solved crimes. I could probably do the rest of the podcast for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Talking about APHIS and talking about like how APHIS has solved crime.
Yeah.
Huh.
Probably.
Continue, Billiam.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So the address tied to Ortiz had led them to a roommate that had actually been a cousin named Marina Ramos, who'd been missing since 1989. So all the pieces were there, and Maria Ortiz was an alias that was used by Marina Ramos. And they discovered that Ortiz had 2 young daughters who were missing. Now, the sheriff's investigators had said that they got a DNA sample from a relative, and then they had used the law enforcement to go into that database in the hopes of finding those girls. They then discovered one of the sisters, and the other sister had actually kept newspaper clippings that included news of the abandonment. So they were tracking that. And one of the things, too, is that the sheriff's office had said that this was like a profound discovery. Like, they were super proud. They thought it was great, but they still were questioning what happened to Marina Ramos. And as far as it goes, they're still looking for suspects, and there hasn't been a break in the case so far for the mom. But because of how it is, likely if there's anything that should come about in the near to future, because there's getting a lot of coverage on this, because this is like seen as like one of those like, great, we found the kids, and we know the mom had been murdered.
Yeah.
We want the information. We want to get it out there. We want to get as many people's eyes on this. I think that this attention, so long as it doesn't get overshadowed, is liable to lead to a break in the case, and that's what I'm hoping for. But those are my 3 stories that all kind of went all over the place. But yeah, that's what I came to the table with.
Well, that was fantastic, Bill. Good job, man.
Yeah.
Taylor, fantastically terrifying story that was very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Bill, you rounded it out with 3 different stories: an unsolved mystery, a mystery that eventually got solved,
Yeah.
and a mystery that will soon hopefully have a happy ending.
Yes.
And for our final story, and we round out this unexplained disappearances, we're going to do something a little more closer to home, and something that is still fresh in the mind of those who live here. June 4th, 2010, Portland, Oregon. Kyron Horman, an engineer for Intel, left home and headed for work. Soon after his departure, his wife, Terry Horman, wrangled up their new baby and her stepson, Kyron Horman, as it was the day of the science fair at Kyron School at Skyline Elementary. At 8:15 a.m., Terry and Kyron arrive at Skyline Elementary. Terry takes pictures of Kyron and his friends in their classrooms before going around the school to look at science projects. That photo would be the last photo documentation of Kyron, who was wearing a very cool CSI t-shirt, which I might add. It was very, very
Yeah.
cool.
It was very cool.
I think it was super cool. I always thought that shirt was super badass. At 8:45 a.m., the bell rings, signaling the beginning of school. Terry stated that she and Kyron climbed different stairs and then said goodbye, after which Terry left the school. Law enforcement stated that this was the last time that someone has alleged to have seen Kyron.
Mm-hmm. I'm still thinking about the fact that it's Skyline Elementary. I love going to that place because it has some of the best views.
Pause.
Okay.
Pause.
Okay.
You love going to the elementary school for views?
Emphasis on when there is no
Okay.
emphasis when there is nobody there. I actually take my clients to go walk laps around the whole entire field that they have there because it's got excellent views, and then you can just drive down a little bit and then go on your way to Savi Island.
Yeah. And before I dive even deeper in the story, Taylor, I'm sure this story is kind of fresh in your mind. Mm-hmm. You're from here. Mm-hmm. I'm from here. Bill, you're not from here.
I am not from here.
How much do you know of this story?
I think I've seen his photo before.
Right.
And that's about it.
So this is going to be like almost completely fresh information.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Me and Taylor have an opinion about what happened in this case. When we get to the end, I want to ask your opinion.
Okay.
And I think that's going to be pretty crucial.
Yeah.
So Terry Horman, the stepmother, right, was seen at a Fred Meyer, then a laundromat, and then a different Fred Meyer with the baby, right? And then a short time later at a gym in Beaverton, Oregon. Around 10 a.m.-ish, Kyron is marked absent by his teacher because he's not at school. Near 1 p.m., Terry arrives home with the baby and posts a photo of Kyron on Facebook, which is a photo that we all know. Mm-hmm. Everyone who knows about the case knows about this photo. It's him smiling next to his science project wearing a CSI t-shirt. Kane, then around 2 p.m., Kane arrives home from work, and at 3:30, both Kane and Terry go to the bus stop to pick up Kyron, only to find out that he's not on the bus. The bus driver radios a school, and Kane and Terry drive to the school as Skyline Elementary's secretary calls 911. Shortly thereafter, a slew of local law enforcement and search teams arrive to get involved in the case. This includes Portland Fire Rescue, Multnomah County Sheriff's Office, Portland Police, and I believe it's Mount Hood Search and Rescue, or like their search and rescue teams. The FBI eventually gets involved at one point, and because there was an FBI field office here in Portland, and they find no trace initially.
Nothing.
No trace. Like maybe he wandered off into the woods.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like maybe he was like, kids being kids. You know.
Yeah.
It happens. It happens all the time. I saw a video recently of it was like an 8-year-old, 9-year-old autistic boy.
Yes.
Who left home in the middle of the night, and his family discovered that he was missing. They panicked. They called 911, and that search team actually had a helicopter. And so they flew a helicopter around in the dark through the woods, and they actually found him grittying in the middle of an open field, hitting the gritty.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. And then they eventually go and they find him, and they're like, "What are you doing, bud?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm just hanging out." It's like super sweet.
Yeah, party.
So I include like these timestamps and parts of the case to show you that like nothing really seemed out of the ordinary for everybody's timeline, right? Go to school, go to look at some science projects. All right, I'll see you later, Kyron. Terry leaves. Kyron's supposed to go to class, and then somewhere in that time zone, he just kind of disappears. Right? I mean, it's super unusual, but it's not like, oh, okay, like, you know, somebody like came in with a gun and was like, no. Which makes this case super complex. People don't just disappear into the shadows, especially not a child in 2010 in a school. Doesn't happen. Which is exactly what Kyron's birth mother, Desiree Young, believes. Kyron was taken by someone he trusted. See, and for all intents and purposes, the legal aspect of this comes from Desiree Young in a documentary that she was in that came out a couple years ago, which I highly recommend that everyone who knows about this case goes and watches. So, Desiree's story goes like this. Instead, when she was pregnant with Kyron, right, Kane was cheating on her with Terry. Okay? This obviously causes them to divorce.
Yeah.
Desiree and Kane got split custody of Kyron until 2004, when Desiree experienced medical issues that involved her kidneys were having some issues, in which caused Kyron to be placed into his father's custody full time, right? Even with all that, Desiree was always there for her son, going to soccer practices and events, you know, having visitation, you know, and stuff like that. Like, she wasn't just like, oh, okay. No, she was always there for Kyron, even today. Fast forwarding a bit, Desiree says a year prior to the disappearance, Kyron was having increasingly more difficult time at the Horman home. Often crying to his mother and wetting the bed, which is a sign of later, in like as a child grows older, if they're wetting the bed like that, it's often a sign of abuse.
Sure. Yeah.
Which for like I said, for legal purposes, I am not going to go any further on that. I'm just saying what I know to be true.
Yeah.
Which is that.
Yeah.
Kyron was adamant that, Kane was adamant that Kyron be returned home to his custody in one incident, because Kyron was almost afraid to go home.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Which was much to the dismay of Desiree and Kyron. What's super unsettling to me is the fact that Desiree states that Terry would often call her in the middle of the night, and this happened on multiple occasions throughout the year before the disappearance, and literally beg Desiree to come get Kyron. Like, come get your son.
Wow.
And she would be like, okay. And she drove from Roseburg in the middle of the night to go get Kyron. Like, it happened not like frequently, but enough to make a note of it.
Okay.
Clearly something was happening behind closed doors and that Kane wasn't really seeing.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to blame Kane at all. I don't think Kane had anything to do with this. Not a shadow of doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
And you'll know why later on, why I think that. But I think that something was happening behind closed doors that he's unaware of, that only two people really know. And we'll find out who that is. So Desiree says that on the day of the incident, Terry took Kane's pickup truck to go pick up the science fair project, which Desiree finds odd as the projects were supposed to remain up in the school until the following Monday. Kind of weird, right?
Odd.
It's odd, right? And according to Terry's former testimony, she alleges that she walked Kyron up near his classroom, but never actually went into the classroom with him, right?
Okay.
So she said they go opposite staircases, and they're like, okay, Kyron, I'll see you later, bud, and then she leaves. That's literally not true. And we can prove it. because of the photographic evidence of his last photo of him smiling with the CSI t-shirt. That's him in his classroom with his friends, with his project.
Yeah.
That's in his classroom because all the classrooms were open because it's a fucking science fair. Mm-hmm. All the classes are doing science fairs.
Yeah.
So you go to your class. You wouldn't go to the class 5 classes down to go see your project. You go to your room.
Yeah.
And in fact, this photo is timestamped at 8:45 a.m. Right? So school starts around 9, right?
Yeah.
And according to Terry, they get there around like 8:15, which makes sense in the aspect of that, right? They walk around for 30 minutes, and she was seen walking around with Kyron and her baby, going and visiting and stuff, right? To add another layer to it all, Terry didn't leave with just her baby, according to Desiree. It is said that Terry actually led Kyron out of the school from the east exit. And this was witnessed by not only Kyron's bus driver, who made a note of it because she thought it was odd. This was also witnessed by Kyron's friend, his friend's sister, and their grandmother, who also saw the same thing.
Okay. Yeah, that's a lot of people. Like you're not gonna openly doubt
2 kids, 2 adults, who know this kid, very well.
Yeah.
Kind of odd.
Yeah, yeah.
As for the Fred Meyer trips that Terry said she went on, Terry alleges that she was getting cold medication for her baby, but apparently her baby wasn't even actually sick, according to Desiree. According to Desiree, that baby was sick a week prior, because it's not like Kane and Desiree don't talk to one another, and they're like, we only talk about Kyron. By this point, like, Desiree already has another partner. Like, this is like so fucking past all that.
Right.
It's like, we're just co-parenting, man, at this point,
Yeah, like they did a fairly good job at co-parenting.
Yeah,
like,
they did a great job at co-parenting. Like,
I mean,
not like super great. Like, they had their difficulties, obviously, of like, like Desiree was like, I don't want to bring him home to your dad's house because he's fucking freaking out.
Yeah.
And Kane's like, that's not an option. Like, you have to bring him home. I have custody of him. You have to do that. It's like, not the best all the time.
No, and I mean, I feel like parents who are separated, there's always going to be rifts somewhere. But
Totally.
like, I mean, like, my mom and dad had their issues, but like, they're at least amicable, and they would. Sure. I mean, they knew things about each other other than only talking about me.
Totally.
As a child.
And that's what makes this whole, like, oh, the baby was sick thing super weird, is because Desiree knows for a fact that baby was actually sick a week prior, had gone to the doctor, and was given antibiotics.
Yeah.
And was on the mend from that.
Yeah.
Which is weird. So it's like, first of all, why are you going to the first Fred Meyer? What are you looking for? You don't buy anything.
Yeah.
Why are you going to laundromat? Which I never found anything about that. What happened there? The second Fred Meyer, you're also claiming you're there for a different medication. It's go to a fucking Walgreens.
Yeah, go
to a pharmacist. Go to a pharmacy.
At a certain point in time, it's like, if you went to Fred Meyer, why don't you go to Safeway or Walgreens?
Yeah.
Or even some small mom and pop pharmacy or something.
Yeah, I don't know what's really in Northwest Portland, but I guarantee there's, like, I'm not super intimate with that area, but I guarantee that there's a Walgreens in between 2 Fred Meyers. I can almost guarantee that.
Yeah.
So,
especially at that time, because like I know Walgreens has shut down a lot of their stores now, but this is back in 2010. Walgreens were fucking everywhere.
Totally.
Everywhere. Every goddamn corner that they could invest, there was a Walgreens.
Yes.
So Kyron wasn't actually seen in the truck at this time, but his mother states that he would be more than content with just being like, if someone was like, hey, Kyron, can you stay in the truck for me while I run inside? And he'd be like, yeah, because he's a fucking kid. Yeah. He's like, yeah, I can do that. And he was content. He would probably just sit there and just hang out and just do whatever. It's like, it's not going to be super long, And this is the last time that Terry is actually seen at that Fred Meyer. until hours later where she shows up at the gym that I was talking about, right? The gym in Beaverton. And witnesses have claimed to see Terry driving through more desolate areas of Forest Park, aka Murder Park, which we've talked about before, which is an area in which we've covered in the past. It has been a dumping ground for killers. There's been multiple homicides in Forest. No, totally. There's been multiple double homicides in Forest Park, murder suicides. It was the dumping ground of a serial killer, a couple serial killers at some points.
Yeah.
Like and I've spent an intimate amount of time there. I did a whole paranormal investigation there. If you're ever on our fucking YouTube channel, go look. Like we went there.
Yeah.
I was there in the dark, which let me tell you. Not looking forward to doing that again.
I'll hold your hand, I promise.
It was scary, but it is weird. It's like, okay, for us locals, right? If I'm in Northwest Portland, right, and I'm like, I want to go to Beaverton to go work out, which is kind of whatever. Like maybe some people are specific to their gyms. I'm not gonna fret on that. It's the why would you drive through Forest Park when there are way better thoroughfares to get there? Way easier.
Oh yeah.
Way easier, like paths to take. Like it doesn't make any sense. But at one point, like someone actually witnessed the truck pulled over on the side of the road near Forest Park.
Yeah.
All the while, Terry's phone is shut off. Has not pinged a tower since Fred Meyer's. It is not until 11:30 that her phone turns back on and is pinged in the area around Highway 30, which is another somewhat desolate area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was there today.
And it's around that time where she is seen at the gym.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it fucking pretty weird, man.
Right.
Apparently, she was also going up to people she didn't really know super well and was showing that photo of Kyron that she took on her phone,
Yeah.
And, the same one she took hours before. And a member of the gym, was like, oh, yeah, that's cool, man. Like, good for you. And then, noticed that she had an injury on her leg and was like, what's going on with that? And she had said that she had dropped a weight on her leg. Right.
Yeah.
And the individual said in an interview, with law enforcement, that looked like a scrape more than like a crush injury.
Yeah.
Right.
Because if I pick up, let's speculate, 10-pound weight, I drop it on my ankle, right? It's not gonna scrape my leg, but it's gonna fucking bruise and it's gonna look like shit. But if I'm maybe going through an area that has a lot of branches and things that could cut my leg, scrape my leg, or maybe I was doing something where I had to drag something.
Yeah.
I scrape my leg. Even more odd, this part is really weird, right? Because Terry said she goes to the gym. I guess I'm assuming the gym had like a fucking daycare or something like that because she had her baby. Said she worked out for a little bit, went home, right? She was only at that gym for 15 to 18 minutes. Did not work out once. Was instead going to people and showing off that photo.
Yeah, that's sus as fuck.
Yep.
That sounds like alibi building to me.
Oh, we'll get more into that in a second. So, in Terry's initial timeline to police, she didn't include any of this. Any of that. None of that was included. And it seems that she kept changing her timeline more and more as police questions began to mount. She would police would basically be like, she was like, where were you? She was like, well, I dropped Kyron off and then I went to Fred Meyer and then I went home. Like, okay. It's like, well, you were also spotted at this gym in Beaverton. It's like, oh yeah, I also went to the gym. It's like, okay. It's like, well, the truck was also spotted near Forest Park. Like, oh, well, I was just driving through there. Always coming up with a new thing to add that she was forgetting.
Yeah.
During the search for Kyron, Desiree states that she observed Terry typing on her computer, right? And inquired Terry into what she was doing, and she was basically kind of mind your own business, And she was like, well, I'm just kind of curious what you're doing, maybe you're maybe looking into something or helping us come up with ideas. And she said to Desiree that they keep asking me about my timeline. And so what she was doing was typing out a fucking timeline on the computer, which is super odd, because why would you need a timeline for a day where basically someone who's your son, you've known his entire life, someone who's basically your son,
Yes.
disappears?
Yeah.
I'll put it this way. The day that I heard my mother passed away, right? I know exactly what I was doing that day. I know exactly what happened the days after. I can remember all of that.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even fucking there for that. You know?
Yeah.
Like, that's a more traumatic story. But, like, how the fuck, like, how do you just forget? Desiree is in Roseburg, Oregon.
Yeah.
Right? And she can remember what she ate for breakfast that day, what she was doing throughout the day when she heard the news. I don't know, man. Like, it's
my thoughts are that even if you can't fucking stand somebody, when your day-to-day life and the things you expect to be a certain way
sure
are shaken,
yep,
just like you said, you will remember everything. You will remember everything, and it's because it's like that becomes like a core memory that creates a scar that you will remember. And it's like, maybe over time you might gloss over it and change it, but something that recurrent, something like that, you're not gonna miss that. And if you do, I feel like that probably justifies all of the feelings that people would have towards you.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, naturally, Desiree, and I'm gonna go out on a limb and say public opinion, general public opinion, Terry did this, right? That's the public's opinion. But Desiree, and a lot of Multnomah County grand jury also kind of agrees that Terry didn't act alone. A lot of people don't know this aspect of the case. As in July of 2010, the Multnomah County grand jury subpoenas several of Terry's friends, including Dee Dee Spicer, whom Kane and Desiree described as, quote, being in close communication with Terry and, quote, providing Terry with support and advice that was not in the best interest of our son. On the day of the disappearance, Dee Dee was gardening for a homeowner on Germantown Road in northwest Portland and was allegedly unaccounted for 3 hours. Apparently, this group of coworkers and stuff would go and get lunch and stuff together.
Yeah.
Dee Dee was just gone. Her car was on site, but she was not there.
Okay. Yeah.
Desiree claims that witnesses saw Terry and Dee Dee together at the time of Terry's phone being shut off. On top of that, Desiree claims to have evidence that Dee Dee and Terry were using burner phones, and that there is evidence regarding the case, but she did not elaborate what that would be, but she said it was relevant to the case.
Yeah.
And like, I guess Dee Dee made a kind of a plea for immunity with the Multnomah County District Court to basically be like, you can't prosecute me for any of this, but I'll tell you everything. And they agreed, and Dee Dee actually led investigators to these phones, and so these phones have been recovered. And so whether or not that is public knowledge or not, I'm not sure. I didn't see anything else I didn't see anything on news about it or anything like that. I mean, I've fucking researched this case heavy. I didn't see anything about that. This came from Desiree's mouth specifically, who's obviously super involved in this case.
Yeah.
Terry would often make comments to Desiree such as when they would drive to and from the school during the search, Terry saw Desiree looking out the window and was kind of asked in this like condescending manner, like, "What are you looking for?" And she's like, "My son." You know, it's like as if to like be like,
What the fuck
like,
do you think
what
I'm
the fuck are you
looking
doing?
for?
You know. Even more odd was a comment made by Desiree in which Terry walked up to Desiree and just kind of leans over as she's sitting in this chair and goes, "I just wanted to let you know that I just wanted to say that I loved your son." Not that she loves her son, not that, you know, she still loves her son, but that she loved her son. Like a past tense, right?
Yeah.
In an interview about the case, I mean, obviously I watched, Desiree basically, in layman's terms, she didn't say it, but you can kind of tell. She basically said, "I was going to fucking kill this bitch." Like, she could just see right through her bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
Like, pretty much immediately. Even more mounting evidence, according to Desiree, is that there was, in fact, blood in the back of the pickup truck that Terry was using that day, that it is a match to Kyron Horman. Police have not spoke about this matter, but they have spoken about the fact that leading up to Kyron's disappearance, there is another case that involves Terry, which is the fact that Terry had attempted to hire multiple people to kill Kane Horman.
I was going to ask if you were... I was waiting to see if you had that in there.
3 different people.
One was their, like, landscaper.
That's about what I'm about to say.
Oh.
Just a week before the disappearance of Kyron Horman, Terry attempted to hire a groundskeeper or a landscaper of her and Kane Horman to kill Kane, obviously, in which this guy was like, "Fucking no." And like Kane found out this a month after Kyron Horman went missing.
Yeah.
To which Kane obviously goes and files for a divorce and restraining order because he goes, "This motherfucker's trying to kill me and probably killed my son." And as we have surpassed the 15-year mark since this case, and I still remember it like it was yesterday. Legal proceedings have stalled, and the case seems to be at a standstill, which it kind of stalled out near the Casey Anthony trial.
Yeah.
It's kind of where that happened. But what remains is a community and a family and a mother looking for answers. And all the while, someone knows what happened to Kyron and they know where he is. But Desiree is standing strong for Kyron, gathering more and more evidence against Terry. And maybe one day we'll get all the answers to the case that has haunted Oregon for the last 15 years. I would like to give my personal opinion.
Okay.
My personal opinion regarding that case. I think that Terry Horman is 100% involved in the disappearance and eventual death of Kyron Horman. And I think DZ Spicy is also involved. I think that Terry was abusing Kyron, right? And eventually had enough and killed him and panicked. Contacted Dee Dee. Dee Dee was her best friend and was like, "Fuck, all right." Went and helped her. They disposed of the body. That's why she went to the Fred Meyers. Because she was maybe looking for something to put him in. And then they drove out to Forest Park. They dumped the body. Drops Dee Dee back off in Germantown Road. And then she's like, "Well, I got to create an alibi. Got people going to know where I'm at." Goes to the gym. That's that. Anyone else want to give their opinion today?
You know my opinion.
So it's what I just said.
I definitely think Terry's involved in one way or another, whether or not she actually did it or she hired someone to do it. Clearly, we've seen that she's tried to hire people in the past.
I don't think she hired anyone to kill Kyron. I think she did it herself.
I'm just saying, like, out of, like, possibilities.
It clearly shows that she had murder on the brain. She's trying to hire 3 fucking hitmen.
Yeah. She,
it's like Tim Lambesis, that fucking guy. Nobody knows who that is, but I know who that is. It's Bocas Vasily dying. He went to prison for trying to hire hitmen to kill his wife. It's just like, dude, it's pretty weird, but I like I said, me and Taylor have, this case is local to us, and like we've known this case our entire lives, right? But Bill, you're not from here. So with the information that I have provided thus far, or in this episode at least, what is your opinion on what happened to Kyron Horman?
So, just going over the facts, I feel like I have to lend some support to what you were saying, where I feel like her experience in the game of trying to get people to do her dirty work for her.
Yeah.
I think at the very least, whatever was on those phones, as you said, that I think would lead to one particular thing. Because if there was an outside source, if she was not doing her due diligence and forgetting about little things along the way, I definitely believe that something would be there. But the fact that it's been so much time leads me to believe that she probably did handle that herself, because there'd probably be conclusive evidence. And I'd want to know, her being at Fred Meyer, I'd want to see some receipts. I'd want to see the financials. I'd want to see those things.
I'm just saying, whether or not, at the very least, she's involved somehow. At the very least,
yes,
she hired somebody.
Yeah.
But more likely, she did it.
Yeah. Yep.
At the very minimum, she is involved somehow.
Yes.
In my opinion.
I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. I'd say one other thing too that I also kind of wonder a little bit about is with how outspoken the mom was, and even the fact that the father was like, I'm attached in some capacity to a person who's trying to get rid of me. I would think that would have brought the two of them, Desiree and Kane, I would have thought that would have brought them super close.
It did, actually.
And with that being said, I would have thought there would be an outpouring of people who could have been character witnesses to talk about Terry. So to conclusively say it, I without a doubt believe that she had done that, just because there's so much suspect stuff going on. And if she didn't hire somebody, since this was somebody who was already acquainted with infidelities and whatnot, maybe there was another person, a boyfriend or maybe even a girlfriend, who knows, who was down bad for Terry, and was willing to prove their devotion to her, especially too if they knew what she was capable of doing. They kind of might have been like, I've got to do this to win her over, and then we'll be lovers who go off into the sunset. I mean, obviously that didn't happen, but for me, I think there's a lot that points to her. So I'm gonna say that I think I'm with the majority of people who think about it that way.
Surprisingly, she did remarry. Her new last name is Vasquez. So
Vasquez.
Yeah, and
Terry Vasquez, Terry Horman.
Yeah, and Kane obviously has custody of the daughter, who is now, I believe, around 14, 15 years old.
Yeah.
And it is said that Desiree has said that she was basically told, because Kane went to her and her husband and was like, I don't really know what to do, because my wife tried to kill me and I think she killed her kid. And Desiree has said her and Kane are now they're not obviously best friends, but she was like, I will do whatever you need me to do to help you. I just wanted to share if you can get a close up. This is Kyron Horman on the day of his disappearance. And I'm just gonna quickly back up here real quick, and we were talking about the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children for John Walsh, and they do like photos to kind of show what these kids would look like if they were aged up. This would be Kyron Horman now. So if I know it's a huge long shot, but I honestly believe that Kyron is in Forest Park somewhere. Where he may be, I'm not sure. I don't know the exact locations, but fuck, man.
You know, I can say, you know, for what it's worth, I've never extensively gone through Forest Park, but I hope that the day in which I do, we find out an answer.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that by, you know, my being there, somehow I come to find out he was found. That would offer me hope in a time when I feel like many days I've been hopeless.
Yeah.
Even just knowing about the proximity of this, like that's one of those things where I want some good to come from this.
Absolutely. Well, what an episode.
Yeah.
Almost 3 hours in. Quite a long episode, but very much worth it to share these stories of these people who, you know, we often don't know what happened, and there's a lot of families out there who are looking for answers. And I would sit here for another 3 hours and continue to tell stories of people who are missing, in the hopes that maybe someone out there knows something. But it's oftentimes we do episodes like this that it feels weird to do plugs at the end. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and just not do that this episode.
Sure.
If you want to find us, you can. There's things you can look up, and you'll be able to find us quite easily. I just wanted to say, next week we're going to be getting back into some more spooky shit. 5 weeks of Halloween. This is week 2 of it. So remember to stay spooky.
Stay haunted.
And fuck Terry Horman.
Yeah, fuck her.